Well, we're having technical issues, I see. Okay, maybe the third time's the charm. Hello everyone and welcome to the last round of Continental Circus. My name is Sebastiano Rossi, I will be your host for today in the commentary booth, and with me I have a racer that has took part in previous races of this championship, Omet Home. Hello, Matt.
Hello, my name is Omet. I'll be the backup commentator. I'll be the ace up the sleeve. You know?
Yeah, indeed. Thank you for being here today, Omet. Thank you very much. Also, we are going to have a lot to unpack today. Because this is going to be a 2.4 hour races, so 2 hours and 24 minutes. And also, we are going to have a longer qualifying session, 20 minutes per class for 40 minutes total. It's going to be interesting. Now, Omet,
Yeah.
you've raced with these guys and girls and anything in between. I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with it. But yeah, you've raced with these racers. What do you think we're going to see today? You're the expert here.
I think you're gonna see a lot of very good drivers. There are some really, really good drivers, especially in GT3. And it's gonna be a little difficult because multi-class is not really run often. A lot of people here don't have experience in multi-class.
Yeah,
And this has kind of been their opening season when it comes to that stuff.
yeah,
And in the GT4 category, it's also going to be a little wild because the different cars are wildly, they vary. They have a lot of
yeah,
different characteristics. You have, cars with more downforce, better cornering. You have ones with better straight line speed. You have ones who are mid-engine and front engine. And so that's going to make the battles vary a lot and be a lot more interesting than GT3, I reckon. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it goes smoothly.
yeah. At the end of the day, we all hope it will go smoothly, but you never know. ACC will always gave us some good and sometimes also bad surprises. We also, well, this is Spa. Spa will also always give us surprises of any kind, so anything could happen. We cannot really rest easy. We gotta be prepared for everything, as we are now going to see the GT4s go on track for their 20 minutes of qualifying. Well, today is going to be 20 minutes per class, so GT3s are going to wait quite a lot. However, they will have quite a lot of time later in order to unleash everything they have on this track. What do you think, Omet?
I
Do
think a
you
lot of
like
people
this new
here are
qualifying
going to be,
session?
yeah, I think I'd love to be, but I think a lot of people here are going to be very grateful for the extra time they're given because
Yeah,
in 10 minutes previously, it's very, very difficult to set a representative lap, if any lap at all. Sometimes you get an invalid lap, sometimes you kind of, you have to race someone, sometimes you have to back off because someone else is slower. And now they have the luxury of having half decent qualifying time. So we should see a lot faster laps and the grid be sorted a lot better than last times, which should hopefully have us, give us better starts in the race.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, 10 minutes per class at a track as long as Spa, that would have been quite a tight time. So I'm glad that we got 20 minutes per class, at least here. On other tracks, maybe the shorter ones, that could be, I wouldn't say okay, but more acceptable. But here, that is 7 kilometers of long, twisty, and also fast roads in the Belgian countryside. And when it comes to length, in ACC, Spa is second only to the Nordschleife. So yeah, I think everyone is glad that our drivers have way more time available on their hands. As we are now seeing Albert George from Pano Formula on the Alpine A110, I think that's the lone Alpine on the grid, finishing their outlap, and they should start their time lap very soon, followed by the Ginetta of Alex Curto. Alex, I know for a matter of fact, has a very good setup. I was in Vice Chats when he was trying to make setups for this Ginetta. I've seen him do so much stuff, it's incredible. That guy with his setups on that car, that is one of my favorites to win the GT4 race. What about you, Matt?
Oh, I do have my opinions on this. I have driven a lot of the GT4s on here for a test, and the Janetta is the one I hated the most. And I'm surprised. Oh, sorry, I think someone's like dying in the background. I'm
No, no,
surprised he
I
was
was
able to
just
bring it up
giggling.
to the speed that I would get in the other GT4s. Alex just has the setup prowess to bend every car's characteristics to his driving style. That's something to really commend. A lot of the other drivers are really good at adapting and getting into their car and driving it, and that's a very good skill to have. But it's another one entirely to be able to bend the car to your will and make it drive the way you want it. Because if you can take a car that's already good at, you can make it drive the way you want it even more and complement your driving style. It's gonna make you
Mhm,
even quicker. That's something a lot of people miss on as sim racers.
mhm. Yeah, speaking of car that you can basically bend to your will, it is surprising that we don't see any Cayman GT4s on the grid. That was the car that you were driving before, that was the car Alex was driving before. How would you explain the lack of Porsche GT4s on the grid, and to an extent also Porsche GT3s?
I was gonna stick to the car. It's actually one of the quicker ones around this track, but it's just a pain to drive. And I feel like Alex has had enough with the car and wanted to switch to something that kind of suited him a lot more, especially if you want to enjoy a longer enduro. And so he switched to it. And I think the other people are also not feeling as comfortable. It's definitely the Cayman in the right hands is a quick car, but it is
Mhm.
really hard to get it up to that limit. And with the other cars, they offer a lot more comfort. And um, I think it says something when there's one Maserati and no Porsches.
Yeah, you really have a good point there. As we're now seeing Eric Hutter from the Baku Racing Junior team in the AMG GT4, taking on. Wait, is that Stavelot? Yeah, that's Stavelot. That's Stavelot. And now going into the last sector of the circuit. That is the very fast one. Man, those corners in GT4, I think that only the Ginetta, speaking of Ginetta, Alex Curto is the one to finish valid lap time at 2:29.7. But yeah, only the Ginetta, I think, has been the one that I've heard Alex say could take Blanchimont flat of the GT4s. As we are now seeing also Daniel Steinhaus and Sasha Dekov setting lap times that are pretty far away from Alex, but again, it's just the start of qualifying for the GT4s. It will be interesting to see how the situation will develop in the future.
Yeah, 229 off the bat on the first flyer is impressive. And as you said, yes, it's the only car that can kind of take it that quickly with no lifting, but it loses out a lot on the straights. So you'll see the Janetta lose a lot on the big stretch, but in the corners it'll gain, it'll be a lot more tame, and this is kind of where you'll see it shine. It's kind of the beauty of GT4 as a class. You see a lot more diversity, and that kind of makes things a lot more interesting. The weaknesses and the strength of the cars really show in different parts of the track.
Yeah, that is true. I do remember Alex saying that the Ginetta will be limited to 240 kilometers per hour on the straight because of the gearbox. So I think that in the first few laps he will struggle, but seeing the big gap that he has for Seong right now in the Camaro in P2, that is 1.8 seconds behind, I do think that maybe the Ginetta will have some tough first laps, but after that, I do not think that this Camaro is going to be able to keep up with it.
Most
Now,
likely, uh,
yeah, yeah.
if the Janetta, yes, is faster in the corners and slower on the straights, but if the other drivers can't keep that speed on the corners to compensate for their big strength, then yeah, the Janetta will win if there's a big difference like that. And hopefully the other drivers can get the times up, because those cars they're capable of a lot. They're capable of very low
Yeah.
230s, 229s. So maybe they're getting in their warm-ups, getting warming up the car and their mental, and then hoping
Hmm.
for that big flyer later before the end of the qualifying session.
Yeah. Also, speaking of qualifying and the cars here, there is Savage EJ that Seong has run into, and I think that is traffic that you really don't want to see. And I guess that is one of the other strengths of the 20 minutes qualifying session. If you run into traffic that might ruin your lap, Well, your qualifying session is not over. You still have a lot of time left for you to set a good lap time. So, extra goodness for us.
It really is unfortunate having Seong just catch up like that. I think he's gonna probably wait it out at the bus stop, but that is probably, yeah, that's a big strength of the longer qualifying session. We've seen in Bathurst people race each other. That was probably me. And only being able to put in one lap in, and some people didn't get any laps at
Yeah.
all. So it's a lot. It gives a lot more comfort because you can be on that big golden flying lap, and have it being ruined like that. It's not a good feeling. And
Yeah.
having that little hope stay in you to get another lap going, it's really nice. As we see Ian the Terrible go up Rouge, taking a pretty decent line, not losing control, slower than usual, going up to the side like
Oh,
that.
that's wide.
What's going on?
Yeah, and speaking of wide, that is going to probably invalid their lap, and they have not set a valid lap. Ian the Terrible, along with, I think, Albert George, are the only GT4s that have not set a lap time yet, at least not a valid one. So, Ian will have a lot of time left for them to set a lap time, and I think Albert is setting a lap time right now. I'm seeing the delta on race control, and it looks pretty good. It seems that this could be potentially a lap time that will compete for pole position, at least at first glance. That seems to be very quick.
Yeah, we're seeing Georgie now coming to the end of his lap, going on, riding the track limits, seems like, taking it to the limit in this car. Maybe this will be the golden one, the golden goose that Georgie wants. It's better than not setting a lap at all.
Yeah, true. Now we're seeing the Alpine approach Blanchimon. How quickly will he take it? That seems to be very quick. Maybe could have been a bit quicker, question mark, I'm not too sure. But that sure wasn't slow, as we also saw back Sasha Dekov, and now back to Albert George. The Hungarian is going to finish his lap. What is this going to be? Is it going to be a 2? Was that invalid?
Oh, it's valid. Georgie
valid.
having
I did not
a
see
mid
it.
230.
Yeah, not bad. The Delta did lie to me. That was a pretty good lap, but not enough for pole, as Alex Curto is the only one sitting without really anyone bothering him in the 229s. That is a dominant performance, not going to lie.
Yeah, 1 second off pole, but I think we're now seeing all the other drivers settle into their cars, getting into the groove, getting the laps in. And maybe now in the final 10 minutes, past the halfway point, we can see them shine and bring out take out the fangs, start to, give Alex a run for his money.
Yeah, we are all hoping so. We are all hoping to see some good stuff here on track, and a very competitive qualifying, because a competitive qualifying will mean extra entertainment for us and also for the viewers. We will see. The Delta, I'm seeing on race control, Alex is slightly up on his best lap time, but still not close enough to be in the 29s to really be in the head of Alex Curto. Like, that Ginetta on that driver, those guys are flying, and no one else can fly as fast as they do. Thank you, Giorgio, finally. Oh, is that Kizumiri? Or is that Yana? No, that's Andy Terrible in the McLaren spinning in the background. That is not good news for the South African driver. They don't have a lap time yet, and the spin, I don't think it's going to help them at all. That is not what you want to do as a driver. And to be fair, it is easy for us to say that in the commentary booth. I know for a Matt, oh, that's a spin. But I know for a Matt firsthand that it can be very difficult to set a lap time to begin with. So, take it easy, drivers. You don't want to do that, but don't worry. You still have time to do it. We believe in you.
Yeah. Ian just in general had a very, very hard time this season in qualifying and in race, but hopefully this time he can really bring it out. And we go back to Seong and his Chevy, making it
Well, yeah, we
make
do indeed see Seong on the Chevy Camaro. That is actually, I think, a pretty chunky car, Omet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the Camaro at least gives me the idea of being a pretty strong car in the streets, but I'm not too sure about its cornering performance. How
It is,
would you describe the Camaro?
it is
Because
pretty
it actually
stable.
did pretty
Like
well.
you'd be
Yeah,
surprised. Like when you drive the Mustang GT3, you get kind of like the idea of, oh my god, it has tons of power and it's a little wild, right? And
yeah,
it's a little, you have to kind of adapt to it and the different style it gives. But the
yeah.
Camaro is actually like one of the tamer GT4 cars, one of the easier one to drive. So this might actually
Ooh.
be good, and it's a very popular choice among the newcomers to GT4, because the other ones, they have their quirks and their
Mhm.
little, you have to push yourself to drive them a little bit. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Camaro is
Good.
well regarded for its stability, thankfully.
Yeah, also good improvement from Seong. That is a 231.3. That's a 2 tenths improvement from their previous lap. A very good showing from the Korean driver. Not bad at all. As we are now seeing the Camaro approaching this massive Camel straight, I think that's where well, less like it shines, but more like drivers will gain a lot on the pole position lap time. Because as we said, the Ginetta will not have that big of a dot speed. So if you're going to gain anything on the Ginetta, you're going to do that there on the Camel Straight. That means you will need to have a good exit from Rouge Radion.
Yes, I think that's a lot of drivers are missing in the GT4s. It's pretty difficult to get Urge right. If you get it right, there's no other way to drive it because the second you veer off, you're probably dead. Like the car floats
Yeah.
over the crust. But I don't think they are using that strength because right now, if you look at the sector times, P1 is actually purple sector.
Oh.
So the other cars are not even fast at their strength, let alone in the later sectors where P1 actually gets the most out of the car compared to the others. Some
Yeah.
cars like P3 and P4 uh, and P5 are on par with Alex in on the first sector, although not beating it, but they lose out a lot on sector 2 and 3, even down to like a second sometimes.
I see, I see. Well, that is not something you want to see, as we're actually seeing right now something we really want to see. They said it on the Maserati, the Giga Chad, our beloved driver. Oh, that's the Maserati moment. That is truly one of the Maserati moments of all time. And I would like to remind everyone that car does not have ABS, does not have traction control. That that is literally a Maserati Gran Turismo. You stick a wing on it, and then you send it on the track. It's less of a race car and more of a touring car, if you will, and that's why I love it. It's just so bonkers.
Yeah, I'm sure we
As we
love seeing
see
it.
Seong resetting to the pits after their lap times, as oh no, Zesseri spun at the last corner. Oh no, I know so well that feeling. I feel so bad for our Maserati driver. Yeah, turn your throttle and
Oh,
spinala.
that's such an easy mistake to make as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, I
especially in
feel bad for
GT4
them.
where when no one drives a TC.
Yeah. Also, something I would like to point out, Seon KP is now in P3, 1.2 seconds behind pole position. As we're now seeing Albert George in their Alpine. Oh, is that? Oh, we think the race control told us that's in by lap, so that is a shame. Okay, okay, never mind. I misunderstood. Our Albert George is on an outlap, so we're good. We're still good. But yeah, we will see uh, if Albert George will be able to shape anything off from the lap time because they're still almost 1 second behind Alex Curto and Ginetta, as we are now saying Yanni Terrible take no name and approaching Pujon.
Yeah, I
Take
really hope Ian
Comet,
can really improve on his 8 seconds here because you do not want to be 8
yeah,
seconds behind the pack. If you can,
yeah,
when you're really down a lot of seconds, it's very easy to gain a lot of time, right? So
True.
hopefully in the next 2 laps, Ian can gain maybe 2-3 seconds, and
Yeah.
that'll move them up like 2-3 positions.
Yeah, that is true. As I'm seeing that right now on my race control, that Ian the Terrible is 1.7 seconds up on their delta, so that will be an improvement for sure. We'll see if they can actually. 1.8 seconds. Yeah, they're increasing it. That is going to be a pretty good improvement, but still, even with an improvement, Ian the Terrible is going to be what?
If Ian
Like,
gets another 10
yeah,
for 2
6.5
maybe.
seconds behind pole position. They could get a 10 or 2, but at the same time, that is a pretty big gap nonetheless. Yeah, with this improvement.
Yeah, but it could move them up a position or two. If they can
With that,
improve a little bit more.
now
Oh,
that
they,
we
they just they
cross the
just lost
finish
2 tenths. Never
line,
mind.
that is a 2:36.7, still in P10. Decently constrained Drabrovka, but still pretty far away from pole position. As we're now seeing Albert George take on the what was the corner? That's not even a chicane. Whatever. Now they're going to approach Bruxelles in the Alpine, and as per race control, they're improving. So we wish Albert all the best, even though. Oh no. I hope I didn't commentary curse him, because this is. Yeah, this is the first time also for Omet in the commentary booth. Omet, get ready to commentator curse people. It will
Oh
happen.
no. Oh no, I'm gonna use this power. I'm gonna make the people I
do
want to
not
win
use it.
win.
Do not use it, please.
But George
But
is
yeah.
improving half a second this lap.
Yeah.
No purple sectors yet, but maybe maybe some more time to be gained later on. And the
Oh,
lap is invalid. Never mind. I should have not
fuck.
spoken.
Yeah, first commentary curse. No matter. Why?
That
Yeah, as
wasn't
we're
that
now going
hard.
to see the
Damn.
off track itself. Yeah, just too wide there on the curb. That is a shame, as the GT3s are now going to go on the track, and that means Alex Curto will have the pole for GT4s. Why is okay, that is interesting, because there is now the Ginetta heading a field of GT3s on the outlap. Alex, I think it would be better for you to go back into the pits.
Oh no. Oh no. This is gonna be a slaughter.
Yeah, well, we are going to probably see Alex Curto being called back to the pits by race control soon, I hope.
It is very funny
Because
though because
that,
Alex is ahead of his original time.
yeah, like that can be quite unsafe, not going to lie.
Oh, he invalidated his lap, I think, no?
So yeah, Alex Curto will have to go to the pits, because this is interesting. I'm not too sure what is the procedure for this. To be fair, the GT3s are not on their time lapse, so it could be worse, but at the same time, that is not something I want to see. As
Never mind.
Alex Curto now goes on the gravel and pulls back into the pits. Yeah, that was some interesting minutes. As we are now going to focus on the GT3s. Right now, Isaac Cambras, one of the many Mercedes MGs that we've actually seen dominate this. I wouldn't say dominate this championship, by being by far the strongest car overall. Like, all the podiums we've seen, there was one or two Mercedes MGs. There are a lot of drivers that decided to pick them. The Ferrari is also pretty strong. As we see Daniel Castellana do very well in it. Now we see Josef Herman, I think that's how you pronounce it in Spanish, being the first one to start their time lap, followed by Asa the Empire, and then the Mercedes Ford. That is going to be interesting to see.
Herman making his way past La Source, preparing for that. The first time you take a Rouge every time is always very terrifying, because taking that
Yeah.
corner on the limit is very difficult, very precise corner, and it can lose or net you a lot of time.
Yeah, that is true. As we see, actually, Herman take it pretty well. Not too bad from our Mexican driver. As they are now going to approach the Camel Straight. I mean, there will be now a pretty big braking zone. That is... You really need to nail it, but at the same time, if you brake ever so slightly too late, it's going to be, I wouldn't say catastrophic, but almost. That could be almost catastrophic.
On these corners, it's very difficult because it's kind of like a chain reaction. The corners are all like, you know, right after one another, and the next corner, the setup is important. So each corner sets up another, and if you screw up one, you screw them up. As we see Zool spinning out at Eau Rouge, better than crashing, right?
Yeah, anything is better than crashing, to be fair. As long as you can keep the car in one piece, that is the best thing you can do, especially during the race, because during qualifying, even if you crash, you could say, oh, whatever, I can just reset back to the pits. You're going to lose time, but you can just basically just reset and then be back on track immediately. If you crash during the race, that is going to be a pretty big headache. Because you will have to repair minutes and minutes of damage. That is not going to be a fun thing to deal with.
Yeah, you mentioned the Ferrari being also the Ferrari is kind of the same. The Ferrari and the Mercedes kind of cover both sides of driving styles while also being very popular because of their stability and their ease to drive. The Ferrari being one of the more understeery cars. It has a lot of stability, but you have to approach it with understeer in mind. If you try to overdrive the car artificially, it'll go out of hand. It does not like it. The Merc, it's kind of the opposite. It's a front engine car. You need to trail brake with it a lot. You need to, be lighter on the throttle, but you can overdrive it a little more, and it has that other side of driving style covered for you. But that's why they're dominant picks. They're very balanced cars. They perform semi-well across most tracks. They perform pretty well across the board.
Mm-hmm. As we now see Ben Zeiss with the temporary pole position, followed closely by Herman, Kamp, and Asadin Empire. That is a very tight top four, then followed with a pretty, I want to say big gap, but a pretty decent gap by Isaac Ambras, Miller on the Lamborghini, and Castellana, that I think got traffic at the end of the lap, so I'm fairly sure we will see Castellana later go up in the
I have a lot of high hopes for Castellana right now. I've seen him do a 216 in practice.
Oh, spicy, interesting. As we're now seeing the rest of the GT3 grid finishing their lap times, I think that is Azri one of the 3 Lexuses, as I do not see DJ Overdrive. Wait, where is DJ? DJ is finishing the lap time in the 3rd Lexus. And yeah, 3 Lexuses in this race. That is a big surprise, not going to lie. I did not expect so many Lexuses.
DJ is in the 3rd and the most stylish looking Lexus. Look at that paint job. That's really nice.
Yeah, lovely. As the Overdrive does not set a lap time. That is... that's a shame. That is a shame to see the Overdrive not set a lap time. Qualifying is still long. Yeah, 30 minutes to go, so anything can still happen.
And I think a lot of the drivers need to curb their expectations a little with the lap times, because right now it's fast track conditions. The temperatures are fine, but the track condition really changes a lot when when it comes to how much grip you have. Mm-hmm. And so you're naturally gonna be a lot slower. Like the 218 we saw earlier, it is pretty impressive when you keep the track conditions in mind.
Yeah, that is true. We need to take into account that the track does evolve, as Herman with a 217? Herman with a 217.7! I did not notice it! Good showing from the Mexican driver! Nice! I totally did not see that happen, so good. Big surprise, but at the same time that's very good, as you see Brice Miller reset back to the pits, as David Camp also improved on the Lexus, There is Zeiss, I don't think they improved, but I know for a matter of fact that Asa did. I think. Wait, did she? Oh, but yeah, Zeiss is also, I think that our championship leader is also improving by how much? Oh, half a second. That is a pretty big improvement. So our German driver can actually do pretty well here. That we see Zeiss using the entirety of the track. Track limits are going to be. I don't think. I think they're going to be dust of their thoughts because I see that this Mercedes driver is really flying this lap. Holy cow. As we see ahead of them, Isaac Armbruster, which is not improving. Isaac is pretty stable in their lap time. But nonetheless, Isaac has a pretty decent position. Isaac doesn't need to improve yet. And so... I think that
Zayt's just approaching Isaac right now.
Yeah, I think that Isaac can kind of rest easy-ish. He could let Zeitz by this lap and then go back and do his lap time as we see the Gilbert overdrive. That is a slow time. DJ.
I feel for Zeitz right now.
Yeah, I feel for Zeitz, but DJ, come on, you're going slower than a GT4. Oh. Herman 270.0. That's a good lap time. That is a very good lap time, as we see Zeitz improving and getting into P2, but then resetting back to the pits. Probably they don't want to find any traffic ahead of them. But Herman, Josef Herman, what a lap time!
Oh,
the Ferrari is getting us settled.
Big slide.
Tradition.
Nice save.
That's a big
nice
spin
save.
We love to see these saves, but yeah, that Ferrari gets settled on the curb and then spins. Yeah, that is Radion in a nutshell. No matter the sim, no matter the car, no matter what, that is just Radion. You need to take that into account. It will happen, one way or another. The big spinala. Oh, who was that? Is that... Oh, Herrera, Edgar Herrera, our American on the Bentley. I think they were just pulling out because maybe they got their lap invalidated and then decided to just pull and not slow down other cars by being traffic. So, good on them. That is actually pretty good awareness on track, I think, if that's what I think it was. But yeah. Now we are back to seeing one of the other Mercedes, Isaac Ambras, and also Marcel Sux, the other Mercedes. They are pretty close. They are fighting for the fourth spot, and they're also pretty close to David Camp in the Lexus. So our two Mercedes drivers can still do pretty well, and maybe also get a podium in qualifying.
Yeah, Sux and Isaac have both had really close fights this entire season. Just seeing them battle gets something flowing in you, you know. And I just love the good sportsmanship between the two. Even when accidents happen, they're very fun. Oh, we just
that could be a bit of a spin. Could potentially also be Ubidius trying to give way to the Lexus in P3 of Camp, as we also saw Alta Linea Empire reset back to the pits. Now Daniel Castellana. Oh, Camp is also pulling out. Oh, you hate to say it. What happened though? That is weird. Did they just get the track limit here? Like that would be my.
I wonder if he just lost control. Oh no, I just gave up.
Oh yeah, they just aborted the lap time. Well, I guess you might have a lot of reasons to do that, as we see now Daniel Castellana finished the lap time. This driver showed us that they could do better! P3!
Yeah, while people improve their times, you really have to look at the timetable every once in a while to see where you're falling short. Like right now, you know, P1, all sectors purple, but P2 and P3, they're depending on their car, they're losing in different sectors. Some are losing a lot in Sector 3. A lot of them are very equal in Sector 2. and Sector 1, but some are losing a lot, some are not, and depending on the car, of course. So you really have to look at that every now and then to see which sector you're really, lacking in.
Yeah, at the same time, I think it's going to be not the easiest thing in the world for you to look at the timings and then look back to your screen as we see Sergei Chernov pulling on the side of the road and resetting back to the pits. We still have two eyes, we need to focus on the road. I don't think it would be the easiest thing in the world for people to do that. So that is true. At the same time, people are not too sure if people can do that. Because that would be a lot of work for us to do.
Nah, one eye on the timetable, one eye on the steering wheel, right?
Fair enough. We now hear also from race control, Castellana is improving by quite a lot. As I'm now pulling my race control up, that is a 4 tenths improvement. 4.5 tenths on Castellana. Castellana could very much go for pole, as we see our Ferrari drivers here being extremely competitive. As I'm also seeing on my screen, DJ Overdrive still behind Alex Curto overall. With the lap times, holy moly. DJ is really not having a good...
Castellana, this might be very close, there's not much opportunity to improve right now, but in the third sector, they are 2 tenths off, so if they can make it up in the bus stop, maybe they will get pulled. But worst case scenario, second place is not too bad.
Yeah, that is true. So that is the big difference that we see now. Castellana could maybe shoot for pole, maybe? No, only 1 tenth off. Super close. But yeah, Sector 2, purple for Daniel Castellana. Very good showing from our driver. Just 1 tenth behind in the first sector and 1.5 tenths behind in the third sector. As we see David Ash, the long McLaren GT3, finishing their lap time. Well, I was about to say, good showing for Castellana, but not really a good showing from the J Overdrive. They are still P19 overall, as Ash is improving by 1 position. Now we see Meyer. Are they going to improve here? Maybe? No, no improvement from Meyer. No improvement from the Lamborghini. Gary Slater also one of the more seasoned Ferrari drivers on our track grid. Are they going to improve? Because I feel like, yeah, 6 tenths of improvement. Gary Slater can improve quite a lot and in quite a lot of positions. But for sure on Zul, maybe on Sergei Chernov, if they get a great exit there. No, only on Zula Chiara. As we see here, I was saying earlier a little bit, the J Overdrive is still behind the leader of the GT4s. That is not a good day for the J, for the time being.
Yeah, Slater just hit a wall, because for Slater to now gain a position, he has to improve by quite a lot of time, like 1.5 seconds.
Yeah,
DJ Overdrive gaining a lot of time now, 4 seconds, maybe finishing maybe a 2:19, 2:20.
Yeah, still at the bottom of the GT2 grid, but at least ahead of a GT4, as we finally see DJ getting out of the GT4 nightmare. Ben Zeiss, we're also seeing the German driver closing this. Oh, I just saw the Delta! Ben Zeiss! Are they going to get pole? Oh! 200ths of a second behind! Ben Zeiss is really shooting for pole. Oh, Zul! We saw Zul that he had sideways. What happened? As we see,
another spin at
exit in La Source. Yeah, probably just a spin at the exit of Rouge. So, Zul, I'm sorry, but I have to say it. Spinala. But yeah, we see Rouge. Car is okay. Car gets unsettled on the radial curb. Oh, that's a snap. Oh,
that is so violent.
That was violent. But yeah, that can happen on the other side of radial. Feel bad for Zul, but you know, this is Spa. This is Spa, and this is what you get at Spa. As we now see Ben Zeitz still with a green delta, but also Herman with a green delta. Top 3 still has green deltas, so it will be interesting to see how the battle for pole position will evolve, as Ben Zeitz showed time and time again that they are the fastest driver on the grid. Maybe not necessarily the most consistent during the race, as we saw around Bathurst with the very slow pit stop. But when it comes to raw pace, Zeitz has been the driver that showed us they are pretty much the fastest. As Herman is probably trying to dethrone Zeitz, but man, this Delta! Zeitz is flying! Holy moly!
We're
Now
seeing
we're going
people
to see...
improve because of the track condition improving as
Yeah,
well. Optimum
there could
condition.
be
People
track is
really want to push it
optimum.
now.
Track is optimum, so Zeitz will have this occasion and probably another one to try and improve, but man, this German driver is flying! Holy schmoly! As Hermann gets unsettled a bit there at no name, but we see now Zeitz closing the lap time. How good of a lap time will this be? Oh, that is quick. Oh, that is quick. That is quick. That is pole position. They lost a lot on exit, but they guess A still improve and B that is good. 216.925, very good. As yellow flag for Reza cameras I see on my race control as they now reset back to the pits.
That position is
But
not safe though,
man,
because Herman is gaining a lot of time.
yeah, true. Yeah, fight for P1 is going to only intensify from now on. That is so good. And Zeitz! Zeitz spins! Ben Zeitz spins on the exit of Radillon. That is qualifying over for the German driver. Oh no. That's such an easy mistake to make, but it feels so bad for Ben Zeitz. As Herman is going to try and get the best exit as possible to get the best launch for the final attempt. We are going to focus on the Mexican driver. They have to improve by 1.5 tenths. 1.5 tenths for this lap. Is Herman going to be able to make it? We are going to see this 296 roaring down the old finish straight. Now he's going to take Orouge and Radillon. Good entry. Maybe a bit of a mistake. Oh! Is that invalid? Oh! Oh no! That's a full horse of Herman.
The curse.
Yeah. Like I was about to say he maybe cut a bit too much of Radillon and then loses control. Holy cow, that was violent. I hope Herman was not using a direct drive rule because that hit was violent. Camp is also finishing their qualifying as we are now seeing Azadine Yampar in the other 296 finishing her lap time. Knowing us, I'm expecting good things from her. She's green on her delta by 2 tenths. Very good showing from Asa. Oh, never mind, half a second. Green by half a second. That means Asa could get in P6, as we are now seeing. Yeah, P6 from Asa. Good showing from Asa. Very good. As Sux, I think is also driving. Slight improvement here by 1/10 from our Hungarian driver. I think they might be able to get the position on camp. So there is going to be an open fight for P4 between these two front engine cars. They both have naturally aspirated V8s. They're glorious. Their sound is glorious. As I'm now seeing Sux on my screen approaching the bus stop. That's a tight entry. But Marcel Sux with a big delta. Are they going to be able to get Yeah, they're going to be able to get P4 easily, as they should be able to... Okay, I thought... Oh, I didn't think they were that far away from the rest of the grid. Holy schmoly. And that is qualifying over. Wow. What do you think, Omet? That was
And this
something.
qualifying session was interesting because you had to curb your expectations a bit at the beginning because of the track conditions, but then I feel like the people who stuck it out to the end had a better opportunity because of the track conditions becoming more optimal and thus getting better laps.
Yeah.
But for the people who couldn't get those laps, maybe they will have to fight their way up the grid.
Yeah. As we're now going to see a track walk of all the drivers that are qualified, as we are now seeing Marcel Sux in P1, followed by Ben Seitz, my bad, followed by Herman, our Mexican driver, in P2, great showing from the both of them. Daniel Castellana in P3, very good showing also from the German driver, followed by Marcel Sux. Then in the third row, we see Kemp and Asad in Empire, followed in the fourth row by Isaac Ambras in the last of the Mercedes GT3s, and then the non-Lamborghini on the grid, Meyer. Then they're followed by Sergei Cherov and David Dash, two familiar faces on the grid of this Continental Circus Championship. Then Gary Slater and Zuda Kihara with two of the most colorful liveries on the grid. Jan Paul and Ubidius are on the 7th row, followed by Kaito Nasa, the last of the Mustangs, and Daniel Putera Hazri. Edgar Herrera, the Lone Bentley on the grid, and then closing the GT3 field, DJ Overdrive. On the GT4s, Alex Curto with a dominating qualifying in GT4s, followed by Albert George. Then in the second row of the GT4s, Sean KP and Sasha Dechhoff. Then Daniel Steinhaus, the non-BMW 4, and Eric Hutter, followed by Zay Sadi, the Giga Chadon, the Maserati, and Kat Kisumiri. Then Adrian Drabrovka and Ian the Terrible, and lone in the last grid, in the last row, EJ on the Mercedes GT4. To be fair, I'm glad that EJ is actually here to begin with, because their Discord account got hacked recently, as they were able to regain control of it, I think just today. So yeah, I'm glad they're able to be here to begin with. That is something I'm very glad of. As we are now going to see the cars heading off the grid to start the formation lap. Ooh.
In this right now, it's going to be the opposite of qualifying. In qualifying, if you have raw pace, you have all the time to put that lap in. But right now, it's going to be about consistency. If you have better pace, the 5-10 laps it takes you to gain a bunch of seconds on someone behind you, you can lose it in one corner if you make a big mistake, and it can cost you your whole race. So this will be about consistency, getting to the groove, getting the corners right, not dying.
Yeah, that is true. Especially of the not dying part. Ben Zeitz and Jose Herman, my bad. We all saw them doing some monster lap times, but we also saw both of them dying at the exit of Radillon. Daniel Castellana, we did not see the German driver on Ferrari spinning at the exit of Radillon, so maybe a slower setup, but probably one of the safer ones in the top 3. So I have my money on Castellana. Anything can happen around Spa in 2.4 hours.
Yeah, Castellana has definitely been very, very good when it comes to race pace and just racing in general. Like, raw pace alone might not be the fastest, but you've seen them win and score high time and time again because of their consistency, because they're able to, consistently perform super well across a race. And a longer race like this becomes even more difficult to perform as consistently and put down those fast laps.
True that. True. As Castellana showed time and time again, that they may not be the fastest, but they are by far the driver that makes the least amount of mistakes. Again, the mentioned earlier Bathurst race, the first race of the Continental Circus. Castellana, despite being technically slower than Zeitz, was still able to be more consistent, get a faster pit stop, and then winning the race in GT3s over Zeitz that should have a faster pace, but because of the slow pit stop and also some traffic management, was able to finish only second.
Something you also have to keep in mind is, because if this is a much longer race, they're probably running, endurance fuel, a lot more fuel, depending on their strategy, and that'll severely affect how the car handles and the times they put down. And some drivers, they're used to putting down sprint race laps, right? And they push themselves more and more and more, and it gets too far. It's really easy to do on tons of fuel like that.
Yeah. And I mean, if I have to guess, I would not be looking forward to taking Radillon with full race fuel. I am so not looking forward to that. That is,
But to
oh
others,
god.
it is their favorite part of the track. It's so
Yeah,
intense and precise, and if you take it super well, it's super satisfying. But it can
yeah,
also just
but
be,
just
be your demise. So
yeah, but just taking on it with full race fuel. Oh, just thinking about it makes my eyebrows sweat, and also my mustache, because my mustache do sweat quite a lot when I'm nervous. So yeah,
I can't say the same.
yeah. As we're now going to see our GT3 grid approaching the start finish line. There was some roughness here and there, but they're all in all they're keeping it composed as they're going to start soon, and it's oh yeah, next corner, next corner. Yeah, my bad. Uh, I'm still used to the fact that they're going Formula One that they start here before the source, but the start finish time is actually later. Or especially because their lap times were set there at the stage before the source, but the race is actually going to start here. So yeah, they're going to approaching the start finish line. Oh boy, I think that parts of the GT4 grid will probably still be at La Source, I'm guessing. Oh, never mind, they're all on the main straight and we are about to go green! Green, green, green! As we see Herman actually getting a good start on sides. Oh, already contact, door banging. Oh, Herman getting spun around by Gasly. Oh god! Oh god, oh god. Yeah, there is that, there is
Assassination.
that, there is that. Oh god, oh
Assassination.
god. Oh god, what's happening? Is that double drive? Oh my god. Um... That was
Do not
something.
watch. Do not watch.
That was something. What the hell? What was that? What was that? Like we saw
The
Daniel
domino
Castellana.
effect.
Yeah, there was the door bang. Then Daniel Castellana spinning Herman, not on purpose, but still. Oh god. Yeah, that is just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's kind of the
What
thing
was
with
that?
Spa. If when you start and you go to Arouge, you're either fully done and everything is safe, or you get pinballed around the track. And I think
Yeah,
the latter has happened.
I think we're going to see the first DNFs of the race there. Maybe as part of the grid survived another incident. Josef Herman. Race ruined for Josef Herman. Oh my god.
That is such a shame.
Oh my god. Okay, one thing that I want to tell people who have less stewards for this race. I am so not looking forward to being a steward today. Like, oh my god. There are so many people with damaged cars. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, more, I think that is more than half of the field getting involved in that crash in a way or another. Yeah, that Mercedes is so crushed. Oh my god. Oh
I do
my.
hope the GT4 grid did not get affected as much though, because it happened in
It
front of
was,
them.
it was, because I saw Alex Kirk survive. And speaking of
Aw.
survivors, these two guys, they didn't care about the death of Radillon. They're still going fast and they're still battling. Holy moly. Holy schmoly.
It is very, very heartbreaking when you qualify this high and suddenly you're all the way back.
Yeah, but this is Spa. I literally said I'm not looking forward to taking Radillon with full race fuel. And guess what happened at Radillon?
Well, that
Oh
Michael
my
Bay
god.
movie of a start might actually
Yeah.
make the race a little more interesting though, because if a
Yeah.
lot of people got screwed over like that, it means a lot of them will go to the pits and repair, and there'll be a lot of recovery drives, and recovery drives are where people put in a lot of work and effort, and we see their best come out. You know, all the anger and adrenaline, trying to catch up again.
Yeah, that is
It'll
true, as
it'll
we're now
play a
seeing
lot.
Ubidius. Ooh, bit too wide there. Yeah, the fight for this position in the GT3 field, for the people that survived, they seem pretty feisty, as we're now seeing Herrera and Chernoff also fighting for position in class. But man, what was that? Also, Steinhaus P2 in class. They say P3 in GT4, di Giga Chadon di Maserati. Nice. Australian Dubrovka in P4, nice. Both of them get quite a lot of position, as I see Albert George in P5 in class. I think the Hungarian driver, the Hungarian driver lost from P2, and oh my god, that is a lot of damage on that Alpine. Oh yeah, it is so understeery. My god, EJ started from last and is now P6 in class. As we're now seeing a lot of people repairing their cars, but holy moly, that was a start. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen a start like that. Ever. Not just in track, not just in ACC, not just in sim racing. Well, to be fair, I guess that I've seen a start like that. It was like that wet F1 Grand Prix around Spa where everyone died at lap 1. Holy schmoly. IRL, that would have been a red flag, 1000%. But luckily we're in the sim racing world, so our drivers were able to keep on going easily, as we're now seeing a test battle for P3, which is technically to an extent P3. Between Camp, Mier, and Asadin Empire. Try different cars.
I do wish we could restart the race. Maybe like red flags could be nice for that stuff.
Yeah, true that, but Asa going wide, as Camp is going to be able to take is going to be able to take this slipstream, as we're now seeing an all-Italian fight opening up there. Brice Millier trying to get on Asadin Empire, but also Dave Camp, the other freshman on the grid, now Obidius on Jan Paul. They are going to try with that 4 to take on the Ferrari, but man, and also Marcel Sux, which finished I think P4 in qualifying. Marcel will now have to deal with slow traffic, as I think that's Asri behind. Yeah, there is Asri. Okay, oh yeah, it wasn't DJ, it was Asri, because I remember DJ flipping. As we're now seeing Kaito Nasa with the GT3 climbing through the field. Kaito will have a lot of ground to gain. But it could be worse. Could be DJ, it could be Zul, could be Isaac. There was so much carnage in the first lap, holy schmoly. As we're now seeing Yandy Terrible and EJ battling, as Yandy Terrible is able to get that position in the McLaren. Good showing from EJ. As we're now seeing again Azri and Sux that we have to deal with slow traffic. We also have to deal with slow traffic. I think Azri qualified roughly around there, as Sux is slowly getting rid of slow traffic for the time being. Ovidius. Man, my voice is already gone. I think I need to chill. I think I need to chill
make
down.
Up all the ground, though,
2 more hours to go.
The slower cars.
Yeah. Ooh. As we're now seeing the battle for P3 intensifying. Meyer, Asadin Empire, and Dave Camp all in this fight, and it's all open for all of them. It's like in the steering car in Asa's Ferrari, then the Lamborghini, which I know for a fact is an understeery slow car. Ooh, Aiden Dubrovka, I saw a yellow flag. But yeah, probably an off track. As we're now, but yeah, understeery car for Asa. Ooh, that was an unsettled car. Understeery car also the Lamborghini, and then the Lexus, my bad, which is a pretty good car for what I've heard. As now the battle here between Continental Dubrovka, Albert George, and Zesedi is going to intensify in the GT4 field.
You know what this is like? It's like starting a race with a reverse 10 grid.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Yeah, everyone just having to play catch up and catch the slower cars.
Yeah, true that.
As Camp chases down. Going back to George, passing Sadi after La Source, going up to Arouge. Maybe Sadi can keep up. Might be a little difficult with the damaged car. I think George did repair his car.
Very understeery Maserati there. I think
the
that
damage might be playing a factor.
And to be fair, I think that Albert has a more damaged car rather than Zesalia. Because I do remember that
Albert
we saw
repaired
that...
the car now.
I don't think so. I don't think that Albert
Oh.
repaired the car. Because they were fighting for
And
position
Albert-
there.
Yeah. Now Camp is trying to keep up with Miller and Empire going up the street. I think Miller is actually keeping up with the Empire because of the draft. It's kind of like the beauty of this track. You can be a little slower in some sectors, but the draft keeps it together. Coming to the left kink. It's a very tricky corner to get right without getting a warning. And going to the bus stop.
Yeah,
It's
it's true.
very tricky to get the exit because of the line you take.
Yeah. It will not be easy for you to take a good line, but if you stay close, especially to a Rouge and Radillon, you will then have to take a mile straight and then the big braking zone for later.
They're going for an attack here. Never mind. There's not much of a
more than a year
far.
ago for an attack. Asa was breaking the toe. That was interesting. An interesting strategy from Asa. As well, speaking of being close to the car ahead for
Camp
the
is
big
really
mile
pushing
straight.
it.
Yeah, Camp is close by. Camp does have the big
Camp is in the
slipstream.
Lexus. Oh, ouch.
Car
I was
gets
about to say, because
unsettled
Camp
there.
is in the Lexus, he might be able to get a position because the Lexus is way quicker in the straight, but screwed up the Rouge. Now you pay the price.
Yeah. We'll now see Chernov in the pits, probably for repairs. There are a lot of cars that were involved in the lap 1 carnage that still have to repair. As we see Dave Camp struggling with the understeer from their Lexus. That is quite a lot of understeer. Holy moly.
Yeah, but you gotta give it to Camp. Driving an outdated car like this, being competitive is not easy, but they're keeping it together. I really hope they can get it back together though, because you saw a lot of consecutive mistakes, and if you lose that draft, it's kind of hard to keep up in a car like this. That's kind of overall slower in the corners, right? So you gotta do what you can. I think the damage is kind of keeping him behind.
Oh, Eric Hutter!
Switch over to Hutter. Crashed.
Oh, I think I know what's going to happen. Spin. Yeah, spin la. Eric Hutter. Oh, that's that could have been a worse hit, but still not the easiest hit. That was just a spin with I think 0 TC or something like that. As we're now seeing the Battle of P3 approaching 7 kp. This low GT4, as we see Asa going to whiz off track. But yeah, they're easily passing Seong. Very good lapping for this lower traffic. Very good showing.
Yeah, Miller might not be able to get a pass here actually, because this is a very awkward place to pass.
Not
I think
quite.
we might have to wait until...
Yeah, they're too far to attempt any move, really.
Yeah.
There is... to be fair, Camp is catching by, but that was actually not the best of entries. Yeah, they're going to lose a lot of on exit. So they did gain quite a lot on entry, but that will stay there on exit.
Fine. If Camp gets a Rouge right this time, they can certainly pass Miller because of the straight line speed Lexus has.
Yeah, true that. At the same time, we saw earlier that keeping behind another car in dirtier to Rouge Radillon, that can be difficult. As we now see Meyer trying to get some clean air for their Lamborghini. As we now see the... Oh! Rasa Gnamper gets a bit unsettled. But yeah, Meyer is going to be able to capitalize on that, same as Camp. That is going to be interesting to see what they're going to do for P3. Asa is inside. I think Meyer is going to give up. Oh no! Oh! They door banged and Asa got off worse. Oh no, that was not something you wanted to see. Asa Gnamper got inside. What happened here? Oh, Asa understeer a bit too much. Yeah, you hate to see it.
Camp did the wise thing and just stayed back and watched.
Yeah, and also gained 2 positions. Though I think, yeah, give back the position on Meyer. So, good sportsmanship from our drivers. That is what we want to see. As now Marcel Surks will have to deal with David Ash. Hungarian-Polish war here. The battle also of the cars that start with M, because that is Mercedes and McLaren. Both cars also with a bit of damage, I think. I do spot some damage on the front bumper of that McLaren and also something on that Mercedes as well.
Yeah, but Marcel is gaining hardcore. About to go to the big chain of corners. Probably just gonna
Yeah.
stay behind for now. Oh, taking the outside.
Ooh,
Gonna
on
switch to
the
the inside again.
side.
You might be able to take advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
If you can
That
squeeze into
was
the outside, you can
good.
actually take a lot of exit speed here. Now, it's still not
They're still side
cemented.
by
Still has the
side.
outside. Brakes a lot later. Goes to the... Oh, gives us some space here. This
In
corner is gonna
side
be
by
it. This is gonna be
side.
it.
Still there,
And
but
it keeps the
ooh,
exit speed
Ash has
going,
to give up.
and he makes the pass. Great job.
Yeah. Ooh. Good showing from Master Sux. That was not an easy overtake to do.
That's a difficult thing, keeping it side by side for that long
Yeah.
and staying patient. But when you're
He's
up against a
Ash.
car that you know you can overtake like that, it's a lot
Yeah.
easier to be patient because you know
True
you're gonna
that.
get that position eventually.
That is true, especially if you know that you were faster in qualifying, that you could maybe pull it off with your pace advantage. Yeah, I think that Sux, no matter what happened, had the upper end there. As we are now seeing Brice Meyer and Dave Camp, the two French drivers fighting for P3 overall. It's a battle of the different layouts of engines, mid-engine versus front engine. And so, yeah, it will be interesting to see what is going to happen soon.
Hey, Malaire, just trying to keep Camp at bay, but Camp keeping up as we go to the corner before No Name. But these cars are polar opposites. One's a front engine big power beast that sucks in the corners, and the other is, a cornering machine. But as we saw before, Malaire was involved in an incident, and that might affect the performance on the front.
Yeah, that is entirely possible. Or maybe they slightly knocked the wheel out of alignment, so they're not going to have as much mechanical grip from the tires as they would otherwise. So I think that overall Kemp could be in a good position compared to the rest of to the other driver. Ooh, okay, give me a second. I'm still trying to recover from before.
Oh, no, you're fine.
My boss is not yet fully back.
You're good. And Malaire just trying to keep Camp at bay here. Camp keeping up in the damaged car. That's great. Oh, switch to Ubi. Ubi's fight against Pole. Ubi actually overtook Pole here. Looking for this big chain of corners, and we see a lot of people spin out in that corner because of the when you brake and you turn right, the weight's all at the front. There's no weight at the rear. You can spin that car out. See him coming up to No Name here.
No, there is no name. That is Stavelot, I think.
Oh, I was so lost.
Ubi was going wide.
Yeah. Losing a lot of exit speed there, but I don't think Husry is gonna really capitalize on it.
Yes. Never say never, because after Blanchimont we are going to have the bus stop, and no, never mind.
Ubidius was able
to,
for
Ubidius was able to pull away from Hasri in that Mustang, so very good showing from the German driver, but bad entry into bus stop. That is a bad, even worse exit, and Hasri was able to capitalize on that. Are they going to be able to do it on La Source? They shown inside, but no, they're not doing it.
Hasri showed some intent
is
there,
keeping it behind. Yeah. Ooh, what a race! What a race!
See here if they can take Orange well, because of... Oh, we see the Mustang going up to the grass, missing the line completely, getting a track warning probably.
Yeah, that is going to be a big track warning, and potentially even a slow. No, wait, are there slowdowns on ACC? Because I know that there are.
There are only track warnings, and if you get 3 of them, you get a stop-and-go penalty.
Yeah, that is a lot of track warnings for Ubidius. Like, I do think that they're going to get stop and go soon. Yeah.
Camp's still in the battle with Malaire. Malaire just getting pressured here, not able to shake off Camp.
Yeah.
Look up to this corner. Oh, Camp takes a bit of a tighter line, but that kind of messes up the exit. Just poor setup for the corner. Yeah, now Malaire just shaking him off slowly.
Yeah, ooh,
Paul crash here.
Spinning. Is that, that's Pujon. The first spin at Pujon. As we're now seeing Jan Paul, ooh, going too wide, no grip there, and Spinala.
That's a very
Yeah,
unusual.
however, drivers, if you spin, please hold the brakes. I get wanting to roll out of the track if the track is free, but please hold the brakes if you do not have a free track. That is not safe, in case there
I
are
do hope
other
there
cars
was no one
around.
nearby that, yeah.
Yeah, so which is a good thing, but if there was someone nearby, that could have ended way worse. As now we're back to the battle for P3 overall, and I feel like it's pretty chill. Camp is not too far behind me here, but at the same point, not close enough to attempt anything. So, unless something happens, I think they can both rest easy. As Ben Zeiss and then Castellana in P1, they are closer than I would have expected. Castellana is not giving
just showing
up.
this raw pace, this commitment. You know, the endurance, the consistency. That's their strength, and they're showing it now. You know, you can see their best laps. They're not that great because of the fast track conditions, and maybe, maybe Castellana is just better on the deteriorating track as we switch back to camp here, making up the time again. In this point, last lap, they were 7/10 behind, and now they're 5/10 behind again. So maybe Miller is making some mistakes here and there. That's allowing Kim to keep up.
Either mistakes or potentially traffic management, as we see them coming up on, I think that is Ian the Terrible on the McLaren GT4, as they were able to clear the South African driver with ease, but at the same point, I think that Miller lost a little bit behind the McLaren, trying to lap it safely. Which, I mean, lapping safely other cars is a good thing to see, but at the same point, that's going to lose you time, a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. You want to pass traffic while not hindering yourself as much as possible, and that means kind of altering your line a little bit. That's the case, and in GT4 it's the same thing. Sometimes,
yeah, traffic.
Awesome.
Contact.
Some drivers being impatient right now. It's kind of hitting them in the butt, but. In the GT4s as well, you can compensate for the lost time by taking a different line. Like if you have a GT3 on the inside, you can brake a little later, turn in tighter, get a later apex, and you can get a better exit, and that makes up for the lost time when you're on the slower cars. So traffic is not just about passing cars safely, but maybe strategically changing your line or your approach so you can lose as least amount of possible time.
Yeah. That is true. That is really true. As we now see Hazri and Upidius still fighting for position. I feel like that both the Lexuses that are right now in a battle, they kind of suffer from the same problem. They are close enough to stay in the slipstream and be in the battle, but they are never close enough to actually gain advantage of that closeness and attempt a dive in either La Source or the chicane after the Camel Straight, whose name I'm now looking up because I'm sick and tired of not remembering it. The Racing Circuit's not info spa. Let me see what that corner main was, because I keep on forgetting, and it is stressful. Like, do you know that thing that you're like, I know this corner name, but I'm like, oh god, why do I not remember it right now? Yeah, that is me right now.
Yeah.
It's Lecumba. Oh, okay. Also Hazri lost a lot of time, but now they're behind a lap GT4, and Hazri is able to regain everything. Holy cow. Oh, was an Empire, 5 seconds time penalty.
Oh no.
I think that was for the contact. With Miller earlier. That is a shame to see, but that is less stewarding. So yeah, that is the first example of it.
5-second penalty for collision.
Yeah, we got now news from race control. Those penalties, you can serve them easily in the pit stop if you want. So I don't think that 5 seconds is going to hinder us too heavily. But yeah, it would be better to not have penalties at all to begin with. As we are now seeing GT3s and GT4 traffic not really understanding each other, as we saw. I think that was Kat Hisumiri going off track, as we now see Camp in the pits. I think they're trying to undercut me here.
Yeah, it's sometimes a little difficult to pass some of the traffic, because some traffic is, some of the drivers are just not that great, and the lines can be a little different or a little more inconsistent, and it's really hard to predict. And you have to sit back and look for a safe spot. You can't really be strategic. Maybe the strategy here is to just be as safe as possible, right? You don't want to get caught in a wreck. We see Hasser here going to the bus stop right behind Ubi. Just endless battling. They're both losing out on different parts of the track, different sectors where, one of them gains and one of them loses, but they're in the same kind of platform, front engine rear-wheel drive, big power, big understeer, big torque. But one is more outdated than the other. Modern versus old,
I mean, the old is keeping up pretty well, not going to lie.
Yeah.
And also, I have to say, I'm surprised that Hasri is never really able to capitalize anywhere, because you would assume that being this close, Hasri would be able to capitalize. Castellana, drive through! Drive through for Daniel Castellana. I think that is late steering for what happened at lap 1 at Rouge. Yeah, that is... Oof. Especially considering that the pits here...
lap 1.
Yeah, the pits here are pretty long. We are getting news from race control that it could also be track limits potentially. We're not sure. We would have to ask the stewards.
I'm looking at the chat right now, and the stewards are saying causing the lap 1 incident, so they might have investigated and
as we see,
handed the punishment now.
Yeah.
Castellana now just going for the pits.
Now, Albert George trying to battle sign outs for P2 in GT4, so that is a battle to keep our eyes on, because Albert George, despite the damaged car, I think like their door is also cracked. I think I saw the driver's door being cracked. Despite the damaged car, they are still behind Steinhaus. They're still able to have a good enough pace to hang around with P2. That is good. Good showing from our Hungarian driver. Yeah, sorry?
Yeah, based on how we see George is driving right now compared to Steinhaus, I think he just has better pace right now. With how both cars are damaged, maybe one's better than the other, or maybe just George is able to adapt much better. But since, based on what we saw at the bus stop, George was just on it, So if he can keep that up, if he can keep up the good work and stay close to Steinhaus, he might eventually be able to pass.
Yeah. Also, Sadi is serving one of the first pit stops as Castellana clears their drive-thru, as they're now in P4 overall. Oh, Dubrovka! Spinning. Oh. Yeah, you thought it was over after the spin. I thought it was able to regain control of the car, but no, the spin was not over. Bad. Bonk. And bonk. Ouch. Oh, that was not nice.
Has claimed so many lives today, it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Now people are coming in for repairs, hopefully their first pit stop for some people.
Yeah,
and maybe their first opportunity to repair the car and get back on pace.
Yeah, that is true. Something that I do remember saying Alex Curto, which is now dominating in GT4, say a way to avoid the car getting unsettled around Radillon could be racing the car up quite a lot when it comes to ride height. So maybe some drivers, especially the ones that are dying around Radillon, they're using a very low car to the ground, and maybe some drivers that have their car which is higher from the ground, slightly taller, I think they're not having that issue, as we are now seeing Asad in Empire clearing out the two drivers that are fighting for P2 overall, P2 in GT4 class, my bad. As Albert George is... Yeah, sorry.
Huh? No,
go ahead.
Just also a lot of cars you really can't avoid. Like, if you drive the NSX, or if you drive the Ferrari, some of the other cars, over over, like, at Arouge, they get really unsettled over the crossing. You have to really commit, and you have to, drive really precise. And if it gets unsettled, you have to really be precise with your corrections. But some cars you really just can't avoid it with, and some setup changes can mitigate it. But some cars just really have that in them,
Yeah. Now we are seeing Albert George very close behind Dennis Steinhaus. Those two drivers are not giving up, especially Albert George, as the Hungarian driver will now have the slipstream on the Carmel Straight, heading into the Cumb. Is George going to be able to capitalize on that? With that ruined aerodynamics, I don't think. Yeah, they're still pretty behind. They are not losing too much, but still, that is not an ideal position to find yourself in, as we are now seeing Castellana battling with Gary Slater. We saw Castellana being the fastest of the two drivers, as now clears Gary Slater easily. I think Gary wants to do their own race, and Castellana wants to drive. Ben Zeitz, 10 seconds.
Yeah, sometimes when someone just whizzed by. Sometimes when you're, when you see a faster car approach, your kind of thought is, hey, it's kind of futile to fight. I'll just let him by, because it not only hinders, like, in your mind, you might also be thinking, oh, I'll hinder the faster car, but you're also hindering yourself, right? And if you don't have that good pace, you want to save that as much as possible, right? So it's good to give up positions sometimes. Also, in the GT4s, no aero. Aero does not matter in these cars. Like, the aero is non-existent. But I see a good battle here between George and Steinhaus. And Steinhaus is not slow.
George on his side.
He's making a lot of mistakes now, and he's giving up the outside. Just get that exit.
Wide!
Gets the outside onto the gravel. And
good,
George takes the lead.
Good overtake. Also, for the penalty for Ben Zeitz. Contact! Contact is... Wow! Holy schmoly! Wow! Yeah, that was contact. I guess that sometimes netcode will cause that kind of stuff. I don't think it was intentional by any of the two drivers to cause the collision, but sometimes it can happen. Also, speaking of collisions, the cause for Ben Zeitz for having a 10 seconds time penalty was for causing a collision while lapping. Car number 4, which I think, in a second, is EJ. So yeah, causing a collision on EJ, 10 seconds time penalty. I guess it does happen. Yeah, it did cost them a lot. As I'm now seeing from the stewards, racing incident between Albert George and Daniel Steinhaus. So there will be... We will not see any further action later, as it was deemed a racing incident. However, that BMW much faster on the straight line. I think that even if those cars don't have any downforce, the fact that you have maybe a slightly battered front bumper or your front engine cover, as we see Steinhaus. Yeah, wide here. But yeah, maybe
Steinhaus just capitalizes on that, takes the inside over ahead of Georgie. This is a battle of mental fortitude. Like previously, Steinhaus just kind of, was too pressured, made a mistake, went to the outside, and George took the inside, held it, and Steinhaus just kind of went to the outside and drifted out to the gravel. Now it's kind of the same thing. There's Steinhaus, trying to use his car as much as possible on the straights, gaining a lot, and being really aggressive, trying to throw George off, and it kind of worked. With it took the inside and went three wide, very brave. Now kind of really paid off. So George's gonna have to work a lot to get that position back, because Steinhaus is a quick guy, very quick driver. Yeah,
but this is overall a very good battle. But yeah, one thing I was saying earlier, maybe if you have like a battered engine cover or a battered front bumper, sometimes in a lot of games that slows you down in a straight line. So I think that is what Albert George is experiencing right now. That damage is slowing the Alpine on the straights. As we're now seeing, he's losing a lot of time a lot of ground on power, and also because of getting lapped. But Yeah, and that Alpine does not have any straight line speed whatsoever. That is not good for the Hungarian driver.
But you gotta also remember the the Alpine is a very cornering car.
True
It's
that.
not good in a straight line at all,
As
and
we
so
were
it kind
able
of
to see
makes up
there.
all its time in the corners.
Yeah, yeah, as I did the
Oh, you
umpire
see the
serving.
umpire just in the pits for the
Oh
5 second,
no, I know
serving the
what
5 second
happened. Oh no.
penalty,
Oh,
and serving the hospital bill as well. All right.
oh yeah, that is Radion. Radion catching bodies today. Holy smokes.
This might be the most chaotic spa race
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Wow. That is something.
Many
It is
lives
absolutely
claimed, but the
something.
race goes on.
Mm-hmm. Chernov! Sergei Chernov also! Okay, this is, I
Oh,
think, oh yeah, car getting settled at Blanchimont.
turn out thinking
And,
it's D1
oof,
GP not appeasing the judges
oh,
and crashes into the wall.
that is such a big hit. Oh no,
You're gonna
that
have to
is a
limp that one back to the
massive
pits.
hit. Yikes. Yes, they are now limping back to the pits. Luckily, they are close enough to do so, but man, that was a hard hit. Ah, you hate to say it. Ooh.
Steinhaus, like, building up some time here, actually. But now
Yeah,
it's the twisty bits, and hopefully that lets George just gain some time, the time he lost earlier.
yeah. Uh, Either way, we saw that no matter what. Oh, Herrera!
Oh!
The Bentley in the wall. What happened? That is Bruxelles.
Julian's not gonna
And
be
they are now
happy.
heading into no name. What happened? Oh, oh! What? Herman! That was Herman standing still. Like Herrera did not see Herman whatsoever. That is weird.
I
It's
mean,
as if
hands off
it's
to Herman, did the right thing, stayed where he is, but unfortunately, the Bentley just still drove into him. That's very upsetting.
yeah. I mean that is just a Bentley. Like Bentley, the Bentley will not yield for anyone or anything. Close,
Yeah.
close. Yeah, sorry, Bentley. There is a battle going on track
We're
right
seeing a
now, and
theme
it is a
here.
good
We're
one.
seeing a theme. This has been happening every lap.
Yeah, like I want to see that Alpine do well, but at the same time, every time Albert George got close and sometimes even ahead of Daniel Steinhaus, that M4 was just able to power its way through and get the position back. So I want to say Albert George can get the position because we see that Albert has a lot going for him and can get a lot, but at the same time, I think it's less of a driver thing and more of a car thing. Yeah, we see it's losing on the straights, even in the slipstream. That
On the
is
speed trap, it's
something.
actually like a 15 km/h difference. But
Wow.
again, we see George just making up the time in the turn. So it's different drivers as well, but also different cars, and we can really see that big variation shine. Right? You
Yeah.
see in the beginning, he just gained a bunch of and George just gaining here.
Yeah, in the corners. That Alpine does not seem to mind that damage, but I think on the straight it very much does. I think that on the straight the bumper damage, the aero damage, and potentially even some suspension damage, I think that is slowing the Alpine down on the straight and is worsening its straight line speed problems more than they already exist.
Yeah, it might be
As
an
we now
issue
see
for Steinhaus as
Ubidius,
well, because Steinhaus is
yeah,
very damaged too.
we now see Ubidius trying to lap the cars as yeah, that is traffic in a place where overtaking is not really a possibility. As we now see Steinhaus giving way to the Mustang, but now George will be right behind Steinhaus. And the battle is going to resume and probably only intensify from now on.
We're gonna see history repeat itself with George losing ground on the straight and then very suddenly gaining all the time back at the bus stop.
Probably. Probably we're going to see that. I would not be surprised if we're going to see that, in all honesty. As now... Ooh, Castellana! Castellana approaching the Marseille for P3 in GT3s. As he's going to take his slipstream by tracc to Roger Lyon. Castellana taking the side. And yeah, easy overtake for Daniel Castellana. Good driving.
Yeah, but Castellana has a lot of work to do now. Castellana is 31 seconds behind P2, who is also 30 seconds behind the lead. So this will be a great challenge for Castellana. We'll see the, them playing catch up. Maybe they're happy with P3, but most are not. They'll try to always catch more.
Yeah, that is true. Also, the race is still long. There is 1 hour and 45 minutes to go, so anything can happen in this time. Castellana, I think if they play their strategy well and also deal with traffic as best as they can, I'm not sure if they might have a very slight chance of still getting the GW, but for sure, knowing the driver, they are going to have a good chance of getting P2. We are now seeing DJ Overdrive and Isaac Cambras approaching, I think, Hutter. No, my bad, EJ. That is EJ, and they're lapping the Mercedes GT4. Oh, Albert George ahead, but Steinhaus getting on the inside, and now on power, I'm expecting a BMW to smoke the Alpine. And now, yeah, also on the inside, Steinhaus should be able to keep the P2, but man, Albert George is not giving up whatsoever. Good battle for these two drivers.
From both of them. Like George is really using his car's advantage, and Steinhaus is, he knows he can't keep up in the corners. He knows he's too slow, so he's driving in a way that really holds up the person behind him. Super good defensive driving. Super good driving by both.
That is fantastic driving, not going to lie. I like it. As we're now seeing overall battle for P13, we know Isaac is faster than DJ, but getting past DJ could be another different thing entirely. I'm getting tense seeing these guys getting closer. Wow. Sneeze. My bad, I had to sneeze. As Isaac, we see now is getting close to DJ Overdrive. And I'm expecting the Mercedes to actually overtake that Lexus here on the straight. I know Isaac, is he going to send it? Maybe. No, actually not. That's surprising. DJ is resisting Isaac's assault pretty well, not going to lie.
I think Isaac is now afraid because of what happened earlier, right? Like he was near the top, and now he's all the way at the bottom, and he's trying to really just conserve the car. And it's a little hard to pass a car like the Lexus because in the corner, someone can defend and hold you up. But as you see now,
okay, DJ is letting Isaac by. I think he saw that Isaac is very fast. I think he's getting impatient. I'm just going to let him by and go ahead with my race.
We're back to the legendary battle.
Yeah. However, I saw a yellow and black Mercedes GT4 behind them. Sergio Dekov is getting into the
10
fight.
seconds penalty?
Yeah, Zeiss sends 10 seconds penalty for causing a collision while lapping car number 4, which was EJ. So yeah, they also have a penalty.
Oh, that's going to change a lot for P2 and P3, who were hopelessly behind Zeitz.
Yeah, but at the same time, Castellana did serve the right through. So there is that to keep in mind, as Castellana still have to serve their pit stop. As now we see Isaac Cambras approaching Alex Curto with a dominating lead in GT4. Yes, Alex survived the lap 1, big one, the big nyan. But man, even even without that, that is a huge lead. That is massive. As we now see Sergio Dekov.
Yeah, I'm putting down really good times for GT4 with full fuel. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
In that car as well.
Yeah. As we're now seeing also Sergio Dekov getting into that fight for P2 in GT4. well, maybe not yet, but he's close. They're close enough to say, "Hey, if you do any mistakes, I'm going to gain a lot from that." So hello, guys. I am here. I am in your head. You cannot rest. So yeah, that Mercedes GT4, they're going to have to deal with that in a way or another, and they will need to not lose too much time, as Albert George so the Mercedes coming and said, you know what, screw this, I'm going into the pits, I'm going to try and undercut these two guys.
This might actually be very wise, because if you undercut, you can repair the damage, you can get the car in a faster state, and you can spend more time on track being much quicker.
Yeah.
But now Steinhaus gonna spend more time being slower than what he should be, right? And that might end up working later on.
Yeah. Yes, we're now back to Ben Zeiss, which is virtually P1 while taking into account pit stops. As the other driver in the GT3 field, the third their pit stop is Daniel Camp in P10, which is quite far behind Ben Zeitz, so I think that the German driver, even with the 10 seconds penalty, can still rest easy. And now we see Meyer with the temporary overall P1 in that Lamborghini, and it's going to be interesting to see how it will go. Like, how long will they go on those tires? How long will their fuel last? That is an interesting question, don't you think?
Yeah, you gotta keep in mind they only have 2 mandatory pit stops, so they probably want to, use them as efficiently as possible. And if they can keep going fast, they probably will stay out of the pits. You can see Zeitz going down to 6 as well.
Sashodekov dealing with Kaito Nasa and Zula Kihara, lapping them, but also dealing with the fight for P2 overall in class. That is Zula Kihara getting boxed behind the GT4s. Man, Zul will not like that. Let me buy, you slow peasants, is probably what he's saying. As still, Sashodekov is now, nonetheless, is still behind Daniel Steinhaus. So the fight for P2 is going to intensify. Yes, Steinhaus made a mistake. Sashodekov is probably going to be able to capitalize on that. Around the outside here of the corner before Blanchimont, now into Blanchimont. Steinhaus still ahead, but Sashodekov as the bus stop. Sashodekov can send it into the bus stop. Around the outside, are they going to be able to stick it? No! Steinhaus, good defense as Dekov dives into the pits. I think that Dekov said the same thing that George did before. Screw you, I'm undercutting you. So now, Steinhaus will probably have to think about pitting soon. Ooh, EJ. Did EJ just touch the New Jerseys there? I mean, wouldn't be the first time I've seen someone binning it into the pit lane part of La Source. I do remember it was in a raceroom race. A guy spun there, then tried to the pit lane in reverse and then just crashed. That was funny. As we now see Marcel Surks finishing their pit stop. And they're going to exit way behind the camp, way behind Ben Zeitz. So yeah, right now, Ben Zeitz very dominating lead in GT3s, if we account for the pit stops.
But Miller and Castellana are catching up pretty hard on Zeitz in the lead.
What about the lap times?
Oh, let me look at the lap times.
We're getting the question from our race control to get a top 10 recap for the GT3s and GT4s. So let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Overall, right now in the GT3s, Brice Meyer, P1 overall still has yet to zero their pit stop, followed by Daniel Castellana, which has yet to zero their pit stop and had to zero the drive-thru for causing the big one on lap 1. Then Gary's later in P3. Good race from a British driver, not too bad. Though it has in P4 having to deal with a rampaging Ben Zeiss right behind them, which is not getting P4. Then behind them, Ubidius on the 4 Mustang. No, wait. No, Hasri. Hasri overtook Ubidius for position. As where is Ubidius? Oh, Camp. I think Ubidius is pitting. Yeah, that's why we didn't see them. As, yeah, there it is. Ubidius in P8, then Jan Paul in P9. Also, they're also pitting, and then Kaito Nasa. Technically, Jan Paul now closing P10. But, yeah. Kaito Nasa for a moment was closing P10. As now, Omet, up to you for the GT4s.
We have Alex Curto on P1, very, very solid, insane lead. We have Steinhaus on P2, GT4, going in for the pits on repairs. We have Dekov on P3. We have Georgie chasing P3 down. Georgie's on P4 right now. We have Kisumiri in P5. Damage. And we have... well, that's a weird looking GT4. We have Sadi in the based Chad Maserati in P6. And we have Ian the Terrible in P7. Oh wait, Hutter in P7. I mean Hutter is
Hutter in P8.
So Hutter in P8.
Or even P9, maybe.
I mean the Broca is in P9. About to get P8. And then we have EJ in P10.
Yeah, those are interesting top 10s.
Now, Jojo, you were talking lap times. So if you look at lap times here, we still need Castellana and Slater to put on some decent laps, but Zeitz just his last lap was a 2:17.9.
Oh, interesting.
Castellana I saw put down a 2:18 earlier. But I think they got held up with traffic because now last lap they put down a 2:25.
Yeah.
And then Slater's put down a 2:22. So a lot of variance there. But from what I saw earlier on the laps, I think some people in the middle better start picking up their pace.
Yeah, you got to start to pick up your pace. Yes, there is still 1 hour and a half left, but still, you got to start to get quicker. Come on, guys. We don't have all the day here, we only have 1.5 hours remaining. As we see Hasri also pitting, Mier and Castellana also pitted, and yeah,
someone
Zeiss...
in chat asked if it's 1 or 2 mandatory pit stops. It's 2.
It is 2 mandatory pit stops, as we're now seeing Zeiss chasing down Gary Slater, and Gary has yet to zero their pit stop, so Gary, the smart choice would be let Ben by. Like, you're on 2 different races right now, guys. Ooh, he's defending, but yeah, Zeitz is going to overtake. They have the line advantage here. So, even though Gary tried to defend, Ben Zeitz was just able to say, well, thank you, goodbye.
Now moving back down to Albert. Albert still has damage unrepaired.
Yeah, no damage repaired, which is interesting, as I think it is slowing down their car a little bit, but at the same time, repairing that damage might have lost them too much time, and so there they are, chasing down Sasha Dekov. No, Sasha.
In my opinion, in a race like this, I think you want to repair your car, because if you lose seconds in a long race like this, then you can make up that time, right? Yeah. But if you race a broken car and you lose seconds every lap, maybe that couple seconds of repairs would have been worth it, right? Because right now, Albert's last, we're about to see Albert put down a lap here. We'll see if not repairing it's worth it, you know?
Yeah, at the same time, a big name that is absent for this fight for P2 is Daniel Steinhaus. P4 overall, and it's like 20 seconds behind Albert George. That was a slow pit stop or a slow outlap or something happened to Steinhaus. Or, as we are suggested by Race Control, he might have also repaired damage, as we are now saying Razor also exceeding the pit stops. And yeah, look at where Steinhaus is. 22 seconds behind Albert George.
fresh paint,
yeah.
very fresh looking car
Yeah.
out on
Yeah,
track again, and we'll see
that
the
was a
pace
repair
difference.
car.
Was it worth it or not? You know?
We will see. We will see later.
Oh, George, last lap was a 2:31.8, so maybe it's worth it if he can keep that up. If he can keep that time up, it might
Yeah.
actually be worth it.
It's probably some very minor damage, so not repairing the car seems to be, thus far, the good call. The right call. Very nice. As we're now seeing the rest of the GT3 field, I think Meyer and Camp, yeah, trying to lap them. As we see Gary Slater serving their pit stop. Will be interesting to see where our British driver is going to come out after this pit stop. What do you think, Omet? Where do you think Gary is going to come out after the pit stop?
I'm really not sure. Like, it's all I think they're gonna come down to maybe like 5th or 6th, but they are pretty quick. So even if they come down low in the field, I think they will make it back up pretty quick.
Yeah, as Gary Slater is now P7, I'm saying, on the...
Yeah, and now they're coming out of the
P8.
pits. So
Yeah, they're coming out of the pits
11
in
seconds.
P8, but that is an Aston Martin coming up, I think. Oh yes, not for position, because that is Chernov, which is down in P22 overall. So yeah, Gary Slater coming out in P8, however, Kaito Nasa and David Escher, they both have to serve their mandatory pit stop, their first mandatory pit stop. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gary Slater were to become P6 after the both of them were to pit. As we are now back to Albert George and Sasha Dekov with a battle for P2 in GT4.
Albert just constantly having to battle his way up. First it was Steinhaus, now it's Dekov. He's doing a pretty good job, going from, going up to P2 will be pretty nice. And they are overall quicker, I think, than Dekov. They might be able to get this down. It's still kind of the same thing against BMW where, the Merc is a little better at straight line speed, and then Albert will have to, use his cornering prowess to make up the lost time. Ooh, we see here, be super close to bumping.
Dekov, but at the same time...
keeps it steady.
At the same time, even if you take here La Source, that Mercedes is just going to blitz back past you here in the round down to Rouge. And then here on the Kemmel Straight, even if you keep it behind there before Rouge, racing Kemmel Straight, you cannot defend on the Kemmel Straight, as I now see Kaito Nasa serving the pit stop.
I think Albert will have to take, overtake Dekov in the middle sector, where there are a lot of corners.
Yeah.
So then once he overtakes, he can make up a lot, because we can see Albert really held back. And when he brakes, he makes up a lot of time, a lot of distance, and he's just kind of stuck behind the car. And that's just defending for you. Sometimes you're just kind of stuck there and can't do anything. So he'll really have to play with his opponent, put in as much pressure as possible. Maybe do a switchback, right, if he's very comfortable with it. But
I mean,
it's a very tough spot, being more speed than you. No, you're fine, because you can't defend over against someone passing you in a draft, but you can defend it against a corner, right? It's a very awkward position to be in, being in a slower car that's faster in the corners. It's very bad.
At the same time, it is both awkward and good, because, well, even if say Albert George overtakes Sasha Dekov here, okay, congratulations. Now you have the big power section that leads up to Blanchimont, and so even if you were behind, you will still be able to gain ground purely on power and just blitz past by. Like, you just have the power to do so.
And something also heartbreaking happened a little bit where Albert got passed in the middle of the corner, hindering his line, but his opponent just got past on the straight, and it looks a little unfair, when you're in the slower car and that happens, or any car really. you do feel a bit of pain and hurt seeing that happen to you. But he'll make it up in no time. I hope so.
Now we see the GT3 cars. There are a lot of GT3 cars that are breaking the fight here. As we see, Albert George is losing a lot of time from Sasha Dechov. So yeah, a lot of things going on, and I'm not looking forward to Albert George like having to deal with how do I get past Dechov. Like, this is not easy at all. Like, I really do not envy the position Albert is in. Yeah.
Yeah, but also it might be super fun for George, right? Getting into battle a car you can kind of catch up with and keep up with in the corners, right? It's super fun, and it's really intense when you see second place being within grasp that close. Really keeps you intense, keeps the adrenaline up, and it is super fun. Battling is the most fun part, and in a car like this, it is put a smile on your face,
Yeah, we're seeing now Albert George catching up to Sasha Dechov in this section, but again, this distance is shrinking as we see the German drive going slow. What happened? Oh, that's a spin at Blanchimon. And we're only seeing the aftermath, but that's a spin and a half around Blanchimon. That is, I'm guessing, the car got unsettled on this side curb and a spun, but yeah. We see now Albert George is able to catch up to Sasha Dechov, but still it's not close enough in my opinion, and now we're on the power section that leads to Blanchimon, and now Sasha Dechov is just going to be able to pull away. That is not...
keep in mind, Dechov is slowing down Albert apparently, like, compared to Albert's first laps after the pit stop, Albert's now slower, by a second, and that can also give Steinhaus the opportunity to come into the picture, because Steinhaus has been a second faster last lap, and we're about to also see the difference again as we get the lap clocked in. You can see Georgie clocking in a second and a half slower than Steinhaus last lap, right? So this is not just hindering George. I know he's probably not going to catch up to P1, right? But you gotta keep in mind, you're not worrying about just keeping P2 in check. If you're both hindered and you're playing too much defense right in battle, that'll bring third place to the picture as well. Like, Steinhaus just gained ground. He's no longer in the 20s of seconds behind, now 19 seconds behind, right? So you gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah. Oh boy, but still, I think the gap is widening here. I have not kept an eye on it, but yeah, it is 1 second roughly.
Georgie is still within a second. But Steinhaus is now 17 seconds behind. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult for all the three drivers, because if we want to be, precise, Dechov and George both have a chance at getting this P2, because we see George is, I think he's actually catching little by little, lap by lap. Ooh, that was a bit of a slide. Also, Steinhaus is slowly gaining. I remember it was more than 20 seconds a few laps ago. Now it is 17 seconds.
It was more than 20 seconds. Now it's 18 seconds, 17 seconds.
Yeah.
It's 17.
Oh, Adrian Dabrowka off track. What happened here? Oh yeah, just late on the brakes. And picnic.
A little bit of an overcorrection. That's really unfortunate.
It was a small snap, to be fair. However, the bot lane.
Julian's gonna be upset. Someone tell Julian.
Yeah, poor Julian. I feel bad for him.
Oh, Umbers is now in the pits.
Yeah, as Albert, I think Albert, I think, is slowly gaining step by step, little by little on...
Yeah, Albert's still half a second behind Dekov, but
Yeah,
Steinhaus is still catching up pretty hard. In my telemetry, he's about to break in under the 17-second gap, so...
that is
You
interesting.
gotta keep that in mind.
That is extremely interesting, actually. As we now see also a very slow DJ overdrive. What happened here? DJ, I think there could have been potentially another problem. Ooh, that was... Ooh, okay. Okay,
Big
the
hazard.
Lamborghini was lapping him easily, okay. What happened next? Ooh, late on the brakes in order to avoid the contact. Went straight. Good avoidance, but still, yikes. Not good.
Props to him, though. Most people would have turned right.
Yeah. The gap right now between Sasha Dekov and Amber George is still 1.1 second. It's still roughly 1 second. I do not think Albert is gaining a lot on Sasha Dekov, and well, actually, the last lap, Albert was, I think, more than half a second faster than Sasha Dekov. So there is some gaining. But overall, I don't think Albert is able to capitalize on it, as we see Kat Kisumiri behind Adrian Dabrowka in the bottom of the GT4 field. As we see Kat with some damage here on her car, and I think Adrian also has some damage on his car. So, the bottom of the GT4 field, I feel like, is the guys that got the most damage.
Maybe. But they're also the more some of them are more inconsistent. Like Dabrowka is now suffering from, the mistake he did earlier. It's kind of why he's battling Kat right now.
Ooh, there are a lot of cars behind them. Lots of GT3s, guys.
Oh my god.
No, wait, that's a GT3. Only one, but there are two fast... It's only one GT3, but there are George and Dekov that are going to lap them.
This might be what Dekov...
Oh, they're going side by side, Kisumiri and Dekov. Yeah, that is what Albert needs indeed. As Kat is going to let them by, but still, that was a Camaro that was technically on the apex a little bit as DJ overdrive.
Oh, DJ dies
again. Stopped on track. What happened, DJ? Oh, I think I know what happened. At Rouge went wide. I think it was like, do you remember what the yellow Cadillac did? I think in 2024. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Like, car gets unsettled the radion, you hit the one on his side, and then boom, you get spat back on the middle of the track. Yikes. Ooh, something that we're seeing is that the car is still there. Hopefully there were no injuries, because we know that with direct drive wheels, that can be dangerous. I fear something might have happened, because that is not normal. So hopefully everything is alright. But yeah, that is not good. As we now
P2
see...
and P3 now are at risk of being taken away by Steinhaus. Steinhaus is now 8 seconds behind.
Yeah,
shaving
and
off 10 seconds over the last 2 laps, right?
Not just that, also Adam Dabrowka was able to gain quite a big lead on Kisumiri because of these two guys fighting. So a lot of battles, a lot of evolutions in GT4. That is interesting. That is extremely interesting. I did not expect such things to happen in GT4, to be fair. GT4 always reserved us quite a lot of surprises here, so I guess it checks out that we're seeing a lot of things from them. As I want to say to our race control, bless you, because they sneezed. Always be sure, chat, to treat your race control well. Race control are the guys that give us everything, stewarding, broadcasting, so I would like to give a huge thank you to our boys and girls in the race control, as they are doing such an amazing work. Ooh.
Aww, really
we see on the
unfortunate.
YouTube chat that the USB hub died for the jailbreak drive. That is unfortunate, but it sucks because I want to say something about it, like to comfort DJ, but at the same time, what can I say? I guess it just happens. It is just unfortunate, as we're now seeing. Well, who's this? I forgot.
Albert not capitalizing on that as much. Albert could
Yeah,
have turned in like way earlier to get a better exit, but
yeah. I
once again, it gave
think
all the space.
that's Chernov. Yeah, that is Chernov
No, no,
trying to
no.
unlap those two cars. But yeah, Zdechov lost some time
I'm talking
there.
about George.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, he got. But yeah, I was mostly focusing on trying to see who was doing what, as we now see also the Maserati in the pits.
How is Steinhaus 16 seconds behind again? Things are
Um,
happening.
they maybe did a mistake. I do not know. So yeah,
Maybe,
something probably happened to Steinhaus because the gap is now huge. Car does not have damage,
Oh
so
no, I think the
probably
delta was kind of screwed because someone was in front of him earlier. Never mind.
potentially Steinhaus made a little mistake. We will see later. But yeah, right now George and Nekov can actually breathe a little bit and take it easy. So yeah, George still has a lot more time to do something over Dekov. And as I see, Daniel Castellana setting the purple lap time, fastest lap of the session, 2:19.1. We're showing from our Ferrari driver. Yeah. Now the race is settling in, and I think drivers are trying to catch their pace and see what is going to work and where. Like here, the battle,
like suddenly losing it there. You could see it earlier. It was sliding a little too much on the exit, and that's going to give Albert the opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, I think the Sasho needs to settle in on their pace because sure as hell Albert did. Albert did settle in on their pace. I'm not sure if Sasho did.
I still do think Albert is limited by Dekov.
Yeah, true that. As we're now seeing Gary Slater trying to get by the both of them, was able to do that for Albert, and now is going to do that for Sasha soon by slowing down Albert in the meanwhile. And I think that's... Who's that? Is that Marcel Sux? I think it is Marcel Sux. Wait, is it? Oh, that's Ben Zeitz coming up on Gary Slater. Wow! Zeitz on a roll. My boy here is flying. Holy schmoly.
Zeitz constantly putting down the fastest laps time and time again. Even if it's not the optimum lap, in one lap, constantly above everyone else. And that's really impressive.
Yeah.
So I think P1 is out of contention right now unless another crash happens. But P2, P3, and P4, they are very far away from each other. A minute behind, 50 seconds behind, 46 seconds behind, right? So they're, again, the top 5 are out of contention, but the battle right now is between P5 and P6. Sux and Slater.
Yeah, and as we see Adrian
Dabrowska,
they're going off. What happened? As we are now getting confirmation that we're halfway through the race. Oh! What happened? Was that a hit?
God intervened. What?
As I'm now seeing a 10-second penalty from the stewards. Who is that for? Who is that for? We are going to see a 10-second penalty to
711.
Yeah, it is 711. Oh wait.
711, the store.
No, it's
Zeitz.
not 711. To whom it is?
It's not.
To car number 7. My bad. Car number 7, Castellana. is going to get another 10-second penalty. Another penalty, which Serena is going to be 10 seconds for causing a collision after a late dive bomb. That is not the news the German driver wants to hear.
Big ouch.
Yeah. And there it is.
Yeah, especially after making up all this gap, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, as Castellan was having such a good run, but then that is heartbreaking. At the same time, you got to be able to not do well, to keep yourself out of trouble, because that is even if say something happens, you got to keep yourself out of trouble. If you do that, that is going to help you in the long run. Come on now. As we're now back to Albert George and Sasha Dekov. Well, nothing is really happening here between the two of them. Like, yes, he's getting closer. Albert is getting closer, but at the same time, not close enough to attempt a move. I don't think we're going to see any evolution from this battle unless someone does something like a spin or breaking it for a corner. Because otherwise, I do not see any evolution happening here as we see Jan Paul getting loose with that Ferrari. What happened there? As we see him then coming up on Putera Hasri, late on the brakes.
Oh,
they try and
wow.
avoid Putera Hasri. Good avoidance on the both of them. Wow.
Insane braking marker. Probably the wrong zip code there.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the GT4s at least, George and Dekov can sleep in peace because Steinhaus is still far away. No gap gain. But when it comes to the GT3s, I think the battle right now, I mean, it's a little heartbreaking. Castellana is now out of contention with 3 for now. But now it's about, well, maybe 9th and 10th. Because everyone else is very spread apart, like over 20-second gaps each. So
yeah. As we're now also seeing 70P battling with Eric Hutter for P what in class? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. P18 class. Man, I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, for P18 class, I know Seong. Seong is a fast driver. I would expect them to actually wide. But yeah, I do expect Seong to actually do being able to do a lot of stuff here, and Hutter will probably not have a good time here.
Seong is a very, very strong driver, definitely. Tons of raw pace.
Yeah.
Very aggressive. Very scary man. We're about to see that. Oh, never mind.
And we're also seeing Adrian Dubrovka here chasing down Kizumiri, as we are now seeing Seong getting on the side of Eric Hutter. Side by side, better exit to, what was that, Stavelot? Yeah, that was Stavelot. As Adrian Dubrovka cannot overtake Kizumiri, but Eric Hutter is still on his side, not anymore, because Seong was able to get the overtake, as we see. Who is that mental driver on the Lexus? Holy, that was Kemp! My brother in Christ, chill down! You don't need to do that. That was something. Did you see all those moves? Oh god, that was scary. As we are now back to Albert George and Sasha Dekov. Oh no, this replay. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There are Lecumbe. Yeah, Albert George is still able to get behind Sasha Dekov, but never able to overtake. I think that must be frustrating at the same time.
Oh,
Albert
goes to the outside a little bit, loses it, understeers.
Oh, what was that?
See some action.
What happened? Kizumiri also saw Ubidius. What happened here? Oh, the Lamborghini goes on the... Oh! Oh god.
The pink Mustang here is definitely at fault though. That's kind of sad.
I think I almost died, but man, what happened there? That was something. So we saw Brismier going on his side and technical letting Kizumira, and then Ubi just... What happened there?
I'm not sure if Miller is to blame though. The pink Mustang suddenly, like during the braking zone, moved to the inside, and that will
That
make you
was
panic.
weird.
Like the Lambo was already on the inside, and
Yeah.
Miller in his head is probably like, "Oh shit, I should probably move to the inside a little more."
Yeah,
so
that's weird. We're going to probably see a penalty soon. Oh, Adrian Dubrovka also facing the wrong way. What happened here? With this Steinhaus passing by, Rubidius passing by. Oh, on the grass. Yeah, you do not want to touch grass, guys. Knowing that this sim racing is going to suck.
Don't get an F in the chat for Dubrovka. A very rough race. If we can get some support down there, that'd be nice.
That is... that sucks. As we're now getting official communication from the stewards that the incident that happened there at Le Courbe between the gaggle of drivers is under investigations. We will see later what will happen, but the stewards are going to take a look at it.
Well, while the detectives do their investigation, right? Drink water, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. I drank plenty of water. I think half a liter of water for the time being. But yeah, Albert George is just losing so much time on the street. I mean, if I were in Albert, I would probably start thinking about undercutting Sasha Dekov and try and see if that
might
work.
Might be the case, but we have to keep in mind, right? He only has just a single mandatory pit stop left. So if he can carry the stint all the way to the end, then he can get maybe undercut if he can, right? But undercutting now would be pretty bad because you have to pit in later for a splash and dash.
Yeah, that is true, but at the same time, I would start thinking about when and where I would undercut the driver ahead, Sasha Dekov. Because even if I may not do that right now, I want to at least be prepared to know where and when I will do it, as we see Marcel Sux being... Isaac Ambras unlapping himself from Marcel Sux. So good on Isaac, as they're now unlapped, but man, I feel so bad for Isaac for what happened there at lap 1.
There's some good racing between him and Suk and others, but sometimes bad things happen, and
that is true.
Isaac just has his head down, chin up, trying to recover.
Ooh, we have the penalty for what happened between that gaggle of cars. It's not going to be communicated soon, but that is a 15 seconds time penalty for car number 45 as Jan Paul is spinning. And okay, good on Jan for holding the brakes. That is good. But man, that was a scary position to find yourself in. And yeah, Spinella just lost the car and then snapped.
That was scary. That must have been scary. That must have been scary.
That was so scary. That was... if you might have seen a safe release there that was about to happen, I think that was the game trying to go from replay to actually what happened, and I think that might have looked like an unsafe release, but I'm very sure there was no car coming up that time. As with Jan Paul losing it again! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! How is Jan Paul not getting collected here? What? That was such good crash avoidance from the cars behind. As we, Jan Paul is losing it there, and hello! Oh boy! That was scary!
Paul just asking for high fives.
The blocker, what happened to Adrian? Adrian lost it while trying to avoid Jan Paul. Oh, I feel so bad for Adrian.
I'm gonna give Adrian a hug right now.
I feel so bad for Adrian. That sucks. As well, now everyone else is still alive as Dave Camp and I think also Eric Hutter are the first drivers to serve their second mandatory pit stop.
Very early on, don't you think?
Yeah, I think they want to try and undercut a bunch of drivers. Einan Dubrovka is pitting in for repairs, and I think also their pit stop. Edgar Herrera also pitting. I'll be honest, I think that you can do one stint, a 1 hour stint with this fuel and these tires. I think it is
Yeah, but
feasible.
you're gonna have to work pretty hard for that, so we'll see
Yeah,
how
that
it
is
goes
true.
for camp.
Yeah, but for them being camp is serving their mandatory pit stop, and they're out of the pits. I think they're the first driver that served it. Let me see. Are they out of the? Yes, they're out of the pits, so they're camp. First driver to serve both their mandatory pit stops. They do not have to worry about anything else right now. As we're now seeing Isaac Cambras dealing with their teammate Kaito Nasa. They're both Technoburst drivers, but I don't think they're racing for Tech. I don't think Kaito is racing for Technoburst here. So technically teammate. Actually, I don't think they're teammate to be
But
fair.
friends,
Yeah,
they're friends.
they're
And
really friends.
Yes.
As we now see a 50-second penalty for car number 45 Ubius for causing that collision in a gaggle of cars as you were predicting. And it seems like there will also be another penalty incoming. Also for that gaggle of cars that crashed into each other. We will see later what the stewards will do, but it looks like it is incoming. As Isaac Cambras overtakes Kaido Nasa for P10 overall.
Also, this person has not been mentioned much this race because they're on League of Their Own, but Alex, big shout out because maintaining, 230s, like 2 seconds ish above everyone else down there constantly. That's insane consistency, insane pace, right? While dealing with traffic, while being ahead and having that like stress, right? So
also, sorry to interrupt you, but there is a 10-second penalty for car 927 for unsafely rejoining into 45, causing a collision. Meyer P2 has a 10-second penalty.
that's gonna add some dynamicism to the race. Now we don't know who's second and third anymore.
Yeah, but we know for a matter of fact that Ben Zrites, that's a P1 in the bag. Oh no, I should have shut up. Oh no, the commentator's curse. Oh no. Oh no, Giorgio, what are you doing? No, don't commentators curse people.
What happened?
I might have done a commentator's curse. Oh no.
Why?
Because I said that basically Ben Side says it in the bag because P2 and P3 got a 10-second time penalty, but at the same time, anything could happen. I don't want to do the commentator's curse. Oh god. If something happened, Ben, I deeply apologize. If I did commentator's curse you, I deeply apologize if that was the case.
No, Ben will sue you.
Oh no.
He'll sue you in court.
Oh no, I need to pay for the lawyers.
Oh.
Well, now see Albert George fighting with Sasha Dego for P2
This fight has been going on for decades.
Yeah, but at this point in time, I will say, think about an undercut as we now see Sergei Chernov finally getting with the other GT3s after the disaster that was lap 1. They didn't give up and they were able to unlap all of the GT4s and get back into the GT3 groove. But man, I feel so bad for them. And also, yes, there's a 10-second penalty for Jan Paul for unsafe rejoin. Ooh, that must suck. As we now see Zura Kihara in the pits.
A lot of things happening this race. It's like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah. Ooh, boy. Yeah, now we're back to this too. I mean, that is their recurring sight at this point in time. We see them time and time again. Okay, guys.
I wonder how things will be once they're done pitting.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they will play this one on strategy. Because I think Albert has
maybe
to play it on strategy.
what Albert what Albert might want to do is wait until the Merc pits, right? And then they can get some
Ooh.
faster laps in, right?
Overcut, you say?
Yeah, an overcut. Because
Mm.
if Albert is limited by the car in front in the corners, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
they can they can speed up their laps a little bit, and then they
Yeah,
can come out of the pits
yeah, that
in a
is
better
true.
position. But hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, we could also see an undercut potentially, maybe, as we are now seeing Yandy Terrible with is slightly dirty, but most I think intact McLaren. They're P5 in class. They're pretty anonymous race for the South African driver, but sometimes anonymous races are the best races because nothing happens, and if nothing happens, thank you, Jojo. If nothing happens, so that means nothing bad can happen. As we're now seeing Ian the Terrible diving into the pits. Touch Lekov! Oh no! That's a spin! Or what's that contact between Ubidius and Sashodekov? Oh, there was contact!
Oh, yeah, the Mustang did it. Albert did a great job of
Ubidius,
avoiding that,
oh,
but
that is going to be... Oh, I do fear that might be another penalty for Ubidius. That
oh
was...
no. But that might have
Yikes.
been what Albert needed. That's such a sad
Yeah.
way to have that end, though.
As now Albert George is sitting in P2 without really getting bothered by anyone besides potentially faster traffic.
Yeah, and now also, they're gonna have to worry about that extra damage from that contact, and now
Yeah.
Steinhaus is gonna enter the picture, and it's gonna be wild. All the top five need to do right now is try to hold their position. Oh, we
Yeah.
saw Seong just pass Ian for P5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
No,
Ian's
no,
in the
Ian
pits.
is in the
Never mind.
pits. Ian is
I'm
pitting.
done.
Ian is serving their second mandatory pit stop, and I think we're going to see a lot of other drivers trying to serve it.
Yeah, but as I said, the top five just need to hold their position because right now they're
Also,
far enough to not be in contention.
speaking of position, Isaac Cambras overtaking Ubidius for position, and considering Ubidius has damage and penalties, I think that was just purely formality, as Isaac says. See you later, son, and gets into P9.
Nice. Super well done, Isaac.
We see also they have Azri that is ahead of them by how much? It's not too much, 2.2 seconds, as we see that Lexus ahead, as we now see Isaac Cambras coming up on Albert George and then overtaking it, and there is the Lexus ahead, right there. Also I'm looking at what the steers are doing, and we might see extra penalties incoming. We see later. I do not want to ruin the surprise, but there might be more stuff coming up later.
Damn stewards dishing out penalties left and right like it's a restaurant.
I do not envy the stewards right now. That a lot of stuff happened on track.
Oh, I envy them. I'm mean. I only give out the penalties.
Fair enough.
One
Fair
penalty
enough.
for you. One penalty for you.
You get the penalty. You get the penalty. Everybody gets a penalty. As we're now seeing
Yes.
pits.
Is it really unfair if everyone gets it? Is it really unfair?
True that. But yeah, we should now be seeing Isaac Cambras. Yeah, on Hazri. Isaac Cambras is really catching Hazri up, and the gap is below 1 second here. I'm going to say where and when is Isaac Cambras going to overtake. I don't think it's a matter of if. Isaac has so much pace. I do not think it's a matter of if Hazri is going to be overtaken. We see here Hazri going wide, and there we go. Also, Obidius 30 seconds. The penalty has been bumped up to 30 seconds. We see extra 15 times seconds penalty for the number 45, rear-ending 781, causing him to lose control Second incident therefore increased from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. That
Leon
is a
finally
race
serving
to forget
his
for
pit
Rubius.
stop.
As we're also seeing Seong stopping. Man, there's going to be a long stop.
One might be asking though, what are some people cooking? You know, maybe they're collecting all the penalties so that no one else can have them, right?
Yeah, could be a possibility. I don't really know. As we're now seeing David Ash with a pretty anonymous race, but still, an anonymous race is sometimes a good race as they are right behind the Gareth later. Yeah, nothing too bad happened, I think, besides that lap 1 debacle, the big Nyan. But yeah, right now David Ash didn't really have a lot of things happening to them, as they are now approaching Gareth later. 1.5 seconds behind, I think. No, 1 second, my bad. And it's now below 1 second. Gareth later will have to start thinking about defending right now.
We might see the grid positions change quite a lot as Kisamiri and Steinhaus and all the other ones start pitting, maybe.
Ooh, what happened here? Okay, 662 and then Kaito ahead. What happened between the two of them? Kaito gets a set on the curb. Bit of a bump between the two, but I do not think anything bad happened. Oh, Jan Paul also spinning. What happened here? Because I also see on that the stewards are taking a look at the contact between 2 and 6, which is Jan Paul, and car number 663. Car number 663 being Sergei Chernov. I do wonder what the stewards are going to take a look at, but right now David Ash was able to finalize the overtake on Gareth later and pass ahead. I did not expect it to happen this quickly. So yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no clue what's going on anymore.
Me neither. That is just Continental Circus, don't worry. As we are now...
This really is a circus.
We are now having official confirmation that the incident between car 719 and 662 is currently under investigation now. By the
It's a really
stewards.
sad looking Ferrari.
Yeah. That is indeed a very sad looking Ferrari. That rear wing is all... What, like, it's not a straight rear wing.
The active arrow. Damn.
Yeah, that is active arrow indeed.
It's like that one. What is it, like a Chinese or like?
No, it was like Zambo. It was a Zambo car
that
that had a bent rear wing, or what that would actually actively bend or something like that.
Yeah, Paul really exploring the pinnacle of motorsport engineering as we go over to Castellana, trying to make up the position. Both of them have 10 seconds penalty, but Castellana suddenly caught up. Like 5 seconds off right now. That's insane.
Yeah,
just like a second ahead of Miller every lap. It's gonna add up.
Wow, that has been the pretty strong performance for Castellano, I'm not going to lie. And last lap, I think, was also purple. It does seem... Oh no, never mind. That is just me not really my race control right. But Castellana really catching up to Miller. They will both have to serve a 10-second penalty, so it will be interesting to see how that will play out.
Yeah, they were both like 10, 20 seconds off each other, but now, 5 seconds is not much at all. And with a 1 second gap per lap, that's gonna add up super quick.
Yeah, as we're now seeing Ben Zeitz into the pits. That is going to be interesting, as there are, I think, penalties coming up. As now, the incident between 296 and car 663 is officially under investigation now. But yeah, Alex Curto now in the pits. So the leader of the GT4 field is now pitting. If I were in Albert George, Sasholekov, Daniel Steinhaus, I would think about pitting right now, seeing that the leader is pitting at
This
this
is
point in time.
funny. This is funny.
Yeah. Like
No
that,
damage.
yeah, no
Super
damage.
clean.
A
Super
very
ahead.
smiley Ginetta. Very smiley and very happy.
It is very happy. It is
Yeah.
very happy.
Nice. You love to see it. As Daniel Castellana and Miller are gaining a position because Ben Zeiss is pitting. Also, I'm saying the uptimes. Daniel Castellana is flying 1.4 seconds faster than Miller. Castellana is literally flying. Castellana will want to get that P2 and get the best results possible out of this race. Very good showing from the German driver.
It's also nice to see Castellana actually took over the best lap by 300ths.
Yeah. Very interesting. So yeah, good showing from Daniel Castellana. Very, very good showing. One of the best drivers in our GT3 field right now. As we're now seeing the gap being roughly around 3.5 seconds, going down ever so slightly, 10th by 10th, and sometimes even up a little bit. I feel like Meyer is now starting to go quicker. I feel like Meyer saw that Castellana is right behind them, and so they were like, "Oh no, I need to start getting faster and faster, because if I don't, I'm cooked." But yeah, no matter what, Castellana is slowly catching up as we see Sasha Dekov into the pits, trying to get the undercut on Albert George. Savage EJ also in the pits, a lot of drivers pitting. As Meyer, Brice Meyer into the pits, they are trying to undercut Castellana. What do you think about the strategy from Meyer?
I do not think that's gonna work. It, like, fundamentally, so undercutting only kind of works if you're being held up, right? And you want to undercut and get some clean air after. But Miller, pace-wise, is slower, so Castellana is, if anything, just gonna gain, right?
Yeah.
So right now, if I was Miller, I would focus on keeping my position because there are other drivers down the grid that are a little quicker, a little better,
It could
and I would be
potentially
on the lookout for
also
them.
be Miller that ran out of fuel and had to fill this lap. So if that were the case, not much you can do there on strategy.
Yeah, I'd say that's the most likely because
Okay, also, one thing to notice is that incident between car 296 and car 663 has been decided to be a racing incident, and also 5-second penalty for Kaito Nasa for coming to a stop on the racing line and then causing a collision.
that is quite sad. It did not look like that. It looked like, you know, the Kaito's car was like a little upset over the curb. What happened
Yeah,
here?
but we will have to see as
Oh,
that
was
was
so
a
close.
good mistake. That was
A little bit of
naughty, but
miscommunication
very
there.
clean. Yeah, that was naughty but very clean lapping. So if you do that, you're going to get some enemies, but those enemies are not going to be the stewards. As I saw, I think Chernov heading into the pits.
Yeah, Camp did a really, really bad move. Like, he's kind of lucky the car in front had good awareness, but he should not interfere with the racing line like that. That's way too early of a move. Going back to
Yeah.
Castellana, P1 for now, before the next pit.
Yeah, virtually P1.
Still waiting the 10 seconds penalty as well, so maybe they're just trying to make the best out of what they have. You know, they have
It is
very low
possible.
fuel right now.
Yeah.
They're trying to get the best out of the car as Miller just comes out.
In P5 for the time being. Ooh, Camp gained the possession on Miller. That is interesting. Castellana into the pits. Let's see where Castellana will end up. Will end out. Will end up out? Will end out?
I think
Whatever.
Castellana will end up either slightly behind, like maybe a second or two behind, or ahead. Maybe.
Potentially behind. Oh, Kaito spinning. That's a spinnerino, Kaito. Don't do that. As we see, that Brussels? Yes. Oh, accelerating on the AstroTurf, then on the grass. Oh, bad, 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 bad. I think gravity pulls you down, and that's another bonk. Yeah, not the strongest of races for Kaido,
Yeah,
sadly.
maybe Kaito's starting to get a little tired. It's been a long race so far, and
True
they
that.
practice a lot, but pressure kind of gets
Yeah,
him pretty easily.
yeah, that is true. Pressure can catch you off guard when you don't expect it, as we now see Castellana and Sux both into the pits. Okay,
We'll really
Camp
see
might get P2.
either Camp
I'm
or
guessing that Camp will get P2.
I think Castellana will be either very close or get P2.
I mean, Castellana still have the 10 seconds penalty to serve, and then the rest of the pit stop and everything to be served. I think that Camp will get the P2. I'm not sure by how much we will see.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah, that was Azra in the pits. Where is Castellana? Castellana is off their pit box. Castellana! Camp might be behind. What?
Yeah, I think Camp's gonna overtake, but now Castellana will just overtake again later on.
Yeah, Camp is ahead. Camp is ahead, but not by much.
Yeah.
That was
And ahead of Miller too, right?
So that was a slow stop from Miller. Very slow stop from Miller. Something that we are being told is that there could have been damage that had to be repaired, and that would make a lot of sense actually, because Miller was, I think, 3 seconds ahead of Castellana, and now it's 10 seconds behind Castellana. So that could be an explanation as to why what happened.
Big maybe.
Okay, Albert George and Daniel Steinhaus both in the pits. As we're now seeing George, there we go, heading to the pit box. With the repair damage, if I were in them, I will not repair damage. Because we've seen, EJ! 30 seconds, stop and go 30 seconds penalty for EJ. That is not good. Probably for speeding in the pit lane. But we now see Dekov coming
George
up.
Gonna get a leg on deck.
Let's see. As the repair damage, I don't think Albert is also repairing damage. He's not repairing damage.
But
Albert George is getting out of the pits, and Daniel Steinhaus is still in the pits. Probably just finishing their pit stop. We should be able to see that Enforg, there we go. Get out of the checks soon, and then getting out of the pit lane. As now, Daniel Castellana, 9 tenths behind Dave Camp. Will be interesting to see what will happen.
Also, it's good to see that Georgie, holding it out for longer and pitting, like the overcut, actually kind of worked, because they're now 5 seconds above.
Yeah. As we're now seeing Gary Slater that have yet to zero their pit stop in P5. Apparently something happened to them. We're seeing the replay. Oh, they just went wide. A bit late on the brakes. I guess that can happen, but yeah, now we are back on the track, and off we go. And yeah, we're now going to see the battle between Castellana and Camp back. Castellana only half a second behind, 4 tenths behind Dave Camp. Oh, there's going to be juicy. There is going to be juicy and interesting. Was that a meatball that we saw being waved to someone? Someone, yeah, that was a meatball.
Yeah.
Being waved to someone. Who has
someone behind is dead?
Yeah, someone behind or someone ahead of them. Sucks to them. We see Castellana. Camp is giving up the position. Castellana gets the second place after Camp gave it up, as we are now seeing Dennis Steinhaus having to deal with Adrian Dabrowka, left car, as Adrian is going to let them by. But yeah, Albert George was able to keep the lead on Sasha Dekov. That is so nice to see. A good overtake on strategy is something very nice that can to be seen. I like it, as we are now seeing Albert George overtaking Kat Kisumeri Lappinger, and now just cruising towards P2, as we are now seeing Kisumeri heading into the pits for their second mandatory pit stop.
I think in this last half there it's going to be a normal sprint race, but none of the positions are really going to change much. Unless big things happen.
Never say never, to be fair. Anything could technically still happen, as we are now seeing Edgar Herrera and Ubidius fighting for P11, even though Herrera is actually quite far. I feel like that is technically a fight between the two, like 2 seconds behind. Let's just see Herrera
is pretty tiny.
Yeah. Herrera could have a chance to overtake Ubidius, potentially. Maybe.
Yeah.
Something to notice is that the only drivers that have yet to serve their pit stop right now, I think, are
Slater,
Kaito Nasa, Gary Slater is now serving their pit stop, and yeah, only Kaito Nasa has yet to serve their pit stop, and Isaac Camras. Isaac Camras also has yet to serve their pit stop. So yeah, interesting. Now Obidius has to deal with Albert George's low traffic ahead, as now Edgar Herrera will also have to try and lap Albert George safely.
Being sandwiched between two GT3s battling is not pleasant, is it?
Yeah, it's not. It very much isn't, but that was very clean, very nice to see, so good to know. As we're now seeing Gary Slater in the pits. I'm not sure if Gary Slater actually is speeding to the pits. Like this later speeding to the pits race control, we are waiting for an answer, because it felt to me like Gary Slater for a moment was speeding. I'm not too sure though. And there they are, pitting, and we are getting confirmation that there doesn't seem. It seems like no spinning in the pit lane happened, as we are now going back to Edgar Herrera, as they have actually Castellana right behind them in P2. Castellana will want to put as big of a gap as possible between them and Camp, even though Camp let them by. Never say never, anything could still potentially happen. Ooh, we see now there Daniel Castellana, the difference between Castellana and this Bentley. Castellana was using the entirety of the track up to the white line. There is one of the differences between those two drivers, between being P12 and P2. Like, no offense to Edgar Herrera, fast driver nonetheless, even though not top driver for this race, but there is a difference in line being taken, as Gary Slater is out of the pits in P8, I think. Yeah, in P8. So, good race for the British driver. Like, not very eventful, but a not eventful race is a good race, as we said before, because if nothing happens, that means nothing bad will also happen to you.
Also, to show how much Castellana is pushing it right now, last lap they had like a 0.7 second difference between Castellana and Zeitz, like being ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Castellana
They're pushing it really hard, and if the race is a little longer, maybe they would catch up to P1 again, but
yeah, that is true.
Unfortunately, you work with what you have, and
Zeitz,
you can hope for a miracle, maybe.
218.3 from Zeitz, as if they heard you. That was quick. Yeah, Castellana will have to gain back 1 minute and 10 seconds. I don't think anyone is gaining 1 minute and 10 seconds in half an hour.
In 30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, that is simply not happening. I'm sorry. Oh man, that sucks.
Bentley just gets overtaken by the Lexus.
Yeah, I think that is Camp trying to lap them, and now we see also Slater lapping them. As now Isaac Cambras is in the pits. Isaac
Finally.
Cambras and Kaito Nasa are the only drivers that have yet to zero their second mandatory pit stop. Isaac is doing it right now, but Kaito is right now a Puhon. So it might still take some time for us to see when and where Kaito is going to take the pit stop, as we're now seeing Edgar Herrera going a bit wide on the exit of the bus stop. However, Isaac Cambras going to lose positions on David Ash and Gary Slater for sure on Ash, and I'm guessing also on Slater because he's coming up, and yeah, Gary Slater up to P7 because
I think
of
it might be good for
Isaac
Isaac though, because Isaac is stopping 30 minutes before the finish, and fresh tires, lower fuel than usual.
Yeah.
It's basically half the fuel of a normal race for us.
Yeah. Oh, as we also see Ubidius slowing down quite a lot on the Camel Straight, facilitating Slater's lapping. But that means Herrera says thank you very much and closing by with the Bentley. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what will happen now. As Kaito Nasa is not yet beating that Mustang, very good on fuel it seems.
I do envy the drivers though. They have the lovely evening view as they drive, as they transition to nighttime.
I mean, to be fair, they're not going to have it for long because I think that the night is coming up. So our drivers will have to deal with also lower visibility.
Yeah, if you don't have good brake markers that don't rely on like very far away things,
yeah,
might be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, now we see Edgar Herrera very close to Ubidius. Ubidius, if I were you, I would start looking in my rearview mirrors because, first of all, Herrera is close. Second of all, that's a Bentley. That is one of the scariest sights to have in your rearview mirrors. I know that for a matter of fact, I did an endurance race on Race 2. I was on a Bentley. They told me that my Bentley was the scariest thing to see in the rearview mirrors. So yeah, Ubidius, we pray for you. We pray the Bentley will not give
the
out.
better line here than Herrera, but Herrera keeping it steady, keeping it fast.
Yeah, and also not being able to close in too much to Ubidius. Like they're pretty close, half a second. 3/10 now, 2/10 after the source. Ooh, that is close. That is not close.
The Bentley is a little quicker on the straight line though, so maybe if they can make it up Rouge with no problem.
Yeah, but the Tierdo.
Oh!
Ubidius on the grass and now cut it. Okay. That was something, but now the Bentley will
giving us the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift experience.
Yeah, also
Kichi would
better
be proud.
Radion. The Bentley's there. Are they going to break the Mustang? No, they're not. That was okay. I will be honest. Herrera was extremely cautious there, as if they didn't want to overtake Ubidius. Like you could have sent it there.
Herrera could have braked a lot later there.
Yeah, you could have sent it there. That's weird. Why Herrera? Also, there is, I think, Miller behind them, so they got also have to deal with Bluflex, but why not sending it there? That is puzzling. As we're now seeing Herrera losing ground on Ubidius because of getting lapped by the Lamborghini. And yeah, now the gap is 1.1 seconds. That could have been avoided. Like, look, so much time. Just be a bit bold on the brakes. Like, you are not going to...
That's the thing, though. With less experienced drivers, they're they're way less comfortable with the car and racing side by side.
Spinning. Oh, at Radion again. Radion killing people. Oh, that's a spin. That's a big spin. Holding on the brakes. hold your brakes, please, because I saw Zul getting too close. Wait, Hagar Herrera, P11. What happened? Ubidius! Where is Ubidius? Where is Ubidius? Right behind! Oh my, what is going on? They are into the bus stop right now outside of the replay. Yeah, Ubidius might have done a mistake. Oh! That's what happened! That's what happened! Oh my god! Yeah, now Kaitonas is serving their pistol Hagar Herrera ahead of Ubidius. Wow! Wow! That was something. That was very much something. Are they going to overtake Kaitonasa from position? Yes! Kaitonasa down in P12. Swagger Herrera, P10, Ubidius P11. And I think
insane competition right now.
Pit stops. So no more pit stops there should happen. We could maybe see dash and dash or maybe some damage repairs, but that should be all.
Man, the race is getting a little sterile, a little boring. Can someone do a backflip or something?
I mean, to be fair, we still have Herrera and Ubidius here. Like, the gap is...
Entertain us. Do a
the
barrel
gap is
roll.
going. The gap is very much growing. Never mind. Never mind.
Ubi, if you can hear me, wouldn't it be cool if you could overtake Herrera doing a barrel roll? That would have been nice.
Yeah. We're also... I've also spotted a cloudy sky. Ooh, Sadie! In the pits with damage. What happened? That is a cracked windshield. That is a front bumper that's seen better days. Poor Sadie. Poor Sadie.
Just dropped a bunch of positions as the race went on. I think maybe it just looks super wrecked, the car.
Yeah, like, besides being super wrecked, I remember that Sadie was way, like, it wasn't that down earlier. Like, what happened here?
He was not, but, you know, it comes to the Maserati, a very hard car to drive, and...
Ubidius is there! Ubidius is there! On Herrera! Meters behind! Ubidius is sending it!
Nice! Super nice dive.
Good dive! That was clean! That was a clean overtake, and we're going to see it in the replay. Nice! Nice dive! But Herrera is still in striking distance. 4 tests behind. So anything could still happen. There probably is something else worse. We weren't able to see it, sadly. But Herrera can still do much here. Wowzers, as they are going to have to deal with the slow cars coming out of the pits. Who was that? And that was Sadie. Okay, Sadie. Sadie, luckily, Sadie doesn't get in the way. But Herrera now has to deal with Ubidius. Again. That is not going to be easy. Oh, they are going to be quite there. Herrera still on Ubidius rear bumper. They're so close. That is a scary sight for the rearview mirrors.
They're both keeping... Yeah, this is...
Tight exit
super defensive
now.
driving.
Good, and no name was taken particularly. Now let's see Pujon. Seems to be everything to be going alright. Nothing bad happening to either of them, but the gap is still there. See 3 tenths. Now we're heading towards the technical section of the track to Lefagna. I guess still there. Herrera
is taking the better lines here, but he's, you know, just not going on the throttle as much and just not using the car.
Yeah, now to Campus and
losing ground a little bit. Oh, better line, better line.
Straight to Stavelot. Now Herrera is right behind. Herrera could use the Bentley's power to their advantage. What are we going to see now? Herrera he's right there. They're right there. Going to Blanchimon. They should go into the bus stop. Herrera could strike if they want to. Herrera
Ubi
could strike,
keeps
but
hitting that inside curb on the left kink. It keeps installing his car. He needs to learn not to hit that.
yeah, that is dominant down. We could see a move into the source. Herrera is close enough to attempt it, I think.
No,
What do you think? Up to 10 or
not
something like that? Yeah,
necessarily.
2 not
Prove me
necessarily,
wrong,
but
Ubi.
man,
Come
Herrera is
on.
close. Ubi is going wide, missing an apex, side by side. They are side by side now, I think. No,
Herrera will have to
almost side by
settle
side.
for yeah, stay behind until you clear Rouge, and then you can take care of it on the straight. Also, it's the Mustang.
Oh, wide again.
Ubi loses time
to
there.
slow
I was about to say the
down,
Mustang has
Herrera.
like also big power right on the straights, but then Ubi just screwed up Rouge.
Yeah. Too much of a, like, too understeer or too bad of a line, and Herrera says, thank you very much, I take the position. Back to P10 for the American driver.
I'd also be concerned if I was, Ubi, if I had a lot of track warnings.
Yeah, that is true. That is indeed very true. Also, I would like to point out something to race control. Me here is half a second behind Camp.
Yep.
Defensive what is happening at Camp.
Meir is catching up hard, but
come on, guys. We want to see a good action on track. Why do you give up? Oh, come on. Come on.
give it up
Give
like
us some
that.
good action, guys. That is weird. Well, like, Camp has the indicators on. I think the Camp could have some issues.
Let's say though, Camp is much better than your average BMW driver.
Yeah, that is true, but like maybe a slow puncture, maybe fuel issues. What is going on with Dave Camp? Especially because Gary Slater is going to allow themselves now. Oh no, just
Definitely
go.
very odd, because they're doing fine.
Yeah, I think it might be a slow puncture.
Okay, yeah, Kemp just did 231. That's insane.
Oh,
That's very slow. I think something might be
that is
wrong
GT4
with
time.
Camp.
Something weird is happening.
Well, I do hope that they don't stay too slow for too long, because Sux is catching up. If they're 10 seconds slower per lap, it's gonna be a problem.
Speaking of catching up, Ubidius half a second behind Herrera, but I think Ubidius is racking up a lot of tracks. I would be worried if I were Ubi.
Ubi is just Ubi keeps hitting the curb and upsetting the car and going all over the place.
Gap is 3 tenths. Now he's sitting in his slipstream, catching up a little bit.
Mustang power.
Might attempt,
Mustang power.
Maybe. No, not close enough, but man. Ubidius showing Herrera.
Really braked
I am
pretty late there to keep the position.
Yeah. Ubidius really showing Herrera. I'm still here. Zul! What happened to Zul Akihara? That was Blanchimon. Okay, coming up on a slow GT4. Okay, no issue here. GT4 is bringing for the... Oh, snap!
Loses that. Oh my god, that's the thing with these cars. It's really hard to save because if you correct a little too much, they snap and they go the other way.
Yeah, that is true. That sucks. Also, Ubidius losing a lot of time to Herrera. Must have done a mistake somewhere because I do not explain the gap going from half a second to 1.8, 1.9 even.
Just eating that curb too much.
Yeah.
To keep it tame. That's slowing him down.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds now the gap. Ubidius losing a lot to Herrera. There is not something, again, eating the curves. Like, going onto the curves so much is going to slow down Ubidius. As now we see Zul is still going. That car does not drive straight.
You know what I'm thinking? What happened to the Lexus? Do you think it's brake fade?
Maybe. Could be brake fade, but that doesn't explain such slow lap times. Like, again, that's a 230. 229, but there is a...
229, yeah.
There is still a
There's something
GT4
wrong.
time. There is
It is
something going on with the
heartbreaking,
Lexus. Probably Camp is steam fuel. That's my guess. Camp must be steam
That's
fuel.
not how you save fuel, though. You don't go that slow to save fuel.
That is true,
So-
but that might be an explanation.
Might be.
Where is like Camp slow in these sectors? Like statistics. I don't know. It's not statistics. Where do it? He might be running a very low engine map, but yeah, that is weird.
A low engine map shouldn't slow you down this hard, though, right?
That is just odd. Like maybe there is some problem to the engine as Jan Paul touches Zula Kihara's rear bumper. I don't think the Zul. I'll be honest. I would be expecting Zul to have a meatball. Yeah, you can see that the car just does not drive.
It does not turn. It does not turn.
Yeah, like that.
Zul's broken the windshield
that must
and
be a
everything.
meatball for sure.
Yeah.
And Zul is pitting now. Ah, that sucks. Yeah, that is weird. Why didn't Zul pit one lap earlier? That is weird. As Jan Paul is not going to get P13.
You know, sometimes when you're this close to the end of the race, you think you can keep a car going, and you know,
Yeah.
you figure it out later. You can't.
Who also said in the pits for the drive-thru. Oh, drive-thru? Why drive-thru?
Interesting.
That is a drive-thru for car number 26. That is odd.
Maybe speeding in the
Maybe
pits
track
earlier or
limits.
something.
Maybe or track
Oh yeah, maybe
limits.
track limits. Yeah, maybe track limits.
As yeah, we also got confirmed there was an incident under investigation between car 21 and 26, but that's been solved as a racing incident. I think that was Jan Paul bumping Zul's bumper earlier. Confirmed as a racing incident from the stewards, as we're now seeing Camp. Still slow.
Oh, Camp now is doing 224s, I think.
Yeah, 224. I think that there might have been an issue somewhere. If not in the car, potentially in the sim rig or somewhere that there might have been an issue, because that is
Maybe
weird.
they were saving or going slower, and then they saw Six just rapidly gain, and then they're like, oh, we should probably go now.
Maybe. That could potentially be... that could potentially be an explanation, but still, Sux is 23 seconds behind. I wouldn't worry excessively if I were in Camp.
Yeah, looking at the delta now, Camp is just losing time on the straight like a ton, and the corners as well. That's a lot of time. I don't know what Camp is thinking, but if it's gonna work out, you know, if he's gonna stay in this position until the end of the race, then, you know, whatever it is, it worked out.
I guess, but for the time being, it seems like it is working out. Especially since Sux is still more than 20 seconds behind. However, if you lose 3 seconds per lap, and there are 12 minutes left, Camp
That is
might
4
pick up
laps.
the pace.
It's like 4 or 5 laps, so...
Yeah, I would say 5.
Yeah.
That is like 5 laps. 5 laps?
Seconds.
Yeah, 50 seconds. I mean, Camp might still be safe, but you can never be too safe.
We'll see what lap times he puts on, because right now he's 6 seconds off of 219s. So right now it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, as we're now seeing Sergei Chernov also lapping a car, and now Ben Zeiss with the dominating lead. More than 1 minute ahead in the lead. That is just dominating, but
Insane.
It's not as dominating as the gap that Alex Curto has on Albert George. The gap is almost 2 minutes in GT4. The gap
in
right
GT4
now,
that is insane amounts of time. That's insane.
Yeah, that is 1 minute and 52 from Alex Curto. Wow.
It kind of shows you what consistency and a good setup and
Oh, Ash,
just a
yellow
good mental
flags.
in general.
Yellow
with it,
flag. What happened to David Ash? David Ash is going slow. What happened to them?
Oh no.
We see Lecumbe on the curb. Oh, they cut a bit too much and they're going slow.
Then why'd they
That
stop?
is odd. What is going on? Probably
What's going on?
something might have happened as we're now seeing David Dash back to racing speed. Probably an issue, maybe IRL, maybe outside of the game, but that was odd.
Maybe. Right, Camp last lap did 2:29, so that's gonna set him back a ton. Sux is now 13 seconds off, so Sux might get P4 for all means. Oh,
Sadie!
that's a big slide.
Sadie, keep it! Okay!
Nice,
Sadie kept it off the wall.
Well done.
That is good. Like, we saw
Didn't
them going
die.
wide into Pujon, sliding, still sliding, and then stop. Ooh! Good save. Good save from the Maserati driver, but man, that's serious to forget. Now we're seeing Sergei Chernov coming up on Jan Paul. The gap is not too big, 1.8 seconds, so 2 seconds basically. But yeah, Jan Paul going wide here at the
potential position.
Yeah. And
we all know how Jan Paul was very inconsistent and spinning out a lot, so if he can't hold it, for 10 more minutes, then he'll go speeder to Chernov.
Yeah, Chernov will probably be late. Oh, Jan Paul wide! And now the gap is below 1 second. Gap is below 1 second and rapidly closing.
They call me the prophet. They call me the prophet.
Yeah, that is the commentator's curse. Sergei Chernov now on his side to Jan Paul and early on the brakes. Early on the brakes for Sergei Chernov, as that is Daniel Castellana, rapid approaching. Weird move from Chernov, like they could have sent it maybe?
Yeah, but Chernov may be looking to stay back and watch out, when you're dealing with more rookie amateur drivers. Sometimes they are not comfy racing side to side, right? And things can happen.
Possible.
So going for the safer bet might be nice.
We now see Castellana imposing themselves with really aggressively there, as now Chernov is back to Jan Paul's bumper. That is going to be interesting to see.
Oh, Camp is up to pace now again, by the way.
That is true. Camp is up to pace.
Oh!
Oh, what happened? What happened there?
Brake disconnected.
I was looking at my race control for a second, and then I see Chernov going straight.
Chernov just... Oh my god.
You overshot the corner. Oh.
That's such a letdown. GG, well played.
We could have seen such a good battle if that didn't happen. But yeah, like, we've been racing
2 seconds down, so maybe they can make it up later,
maybe. But yeah, we've been racing for 2 hours and 24 minutes. No, 2 hours and 80 minutes, I think. Oh, contact. That was a bit of a slap. We've been racing for almost 2 hours and 20 seconds. Like, mistakes like that can happen. I can't blame them.
Of course.
Oh, man.
Chernov, it's trying to make up that time again. 2 seconds back because of that. Well, thankfully it's only 2 seconds, right? It could have been a lot worse with going off like that much and hitting that barrier. But
also
still is within reach, and Camp is back to pace, kind of still 3 seconds off so far in the delta, but just a little fast enough to keep Sux at bay for the rest of the race. Hopefully that is kind of the plan. Probably.
Also, one thing I wanted to say, that contact between Jan the Terrible and Nene Castellana, NFA, the stewards have confirmed that it was under investigation briefly, but then it was confirmed to be an NFA very quickly. So, good job on our stewards, and surprisingly, this second half of the race, very clean. That has been extremely clean.
Yeah, very clean. We can maybe ignore the deaths of many competitors and them leaving, but
That,
you know,
but man, this is good.
hmm.
This is a pretty good race, even though it's a bit calm right now. That is good.
Oh wow, that's such a close pass.
Yeah.
Yep, Chernoff just looking to get as much pace as possible, trying to catch up to Jan Pol in the damaged car after
And
losing the time.
to be fair, they're doing it. The gap is now 1.1 second.
Yeah, they are really doing it. It's just a matter of can they pull off an overtake, right? And
Yeah.
also, I think their lights are malfunctioning. You can see it flicker a little bit, no?
Maybe they're flashing their lights.
Like the
when you're
left
behind
headlight
someone.
is like flickering every now and then.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be
Kinda
fair, they got the
strange.
hit on the left side of the car, so that may be the cause. But the gap is now officially below 1 second.
Just
So,
a 1 second
Jan
gap.
Paul will have to look at the rearview mirrors now, because Sergei Chernov, gap is 6/10. Gap is half a second. Gap is half a second now, officially half a second. Now, they are heading into the source. A bit wide for Jan Paul, but that's a better exit, I think.
Just turn off, not aggressive enough on the throttle out of risk source, not using the whole track. It's costing him time, but still gaining on Jan Pol. Up
Yeah.
Rouge, down reaching the Camel Straight, and
3 tenths
yeah,
behind. Jan Paul
you
goes
got
slow
you
down
got
by
some
slow.
you got some run up on him.
Come on, Sergei, be aggressive. Be aggressive now in braking, okay? Show us a good overtake. Don't wimp out.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Oh,
it was Jan.
maybe it was
Oh no, wait.
yeah.
Never mind. Sorry, Sergei. Sorry. Jan Paul was late on the brakes, and Sergei
A
Chernov
little
was
spicy.
now able to overtake Jan Paul. Oh yeah, sorry for calling you a whip. For a second, I was like, not again. Oh yeah. There was a mistake here from the. There was a misclick here from race control. We're now going to see a replay of Jan Paul's. No, never mind.
Oh,
We're back to
We're
racing.
back to the live feed.
Yeah, as Sergei Chernov now has a half a second lead to Jan Paul. Good showing from our Aston Martin driver. But Jan Paul is now 3 tenths behind. 4 tenths, my bad, but the gap is closing a little by little, and he's also it's like doing the accordion effect, is shrinking and then increasing, little by little. But I think that as a whole, Chernov is slowly gaining on Jan Paul.
Yes, he's not taking the car to the limit, but he's keeping it on the track, super safe, not losing
And
it
his
all the time.
slipstream range. Also in slipstream range! Jan Paul going too wide!
Way too far.
Now, heavy on the brakes. I feel like Chernov maybe did brake a little bit early. But yeah, now the gap is 1 second, because Paul also did brake a little bit early. The gap is officially 1 second. As they are probably doing their last 2 laps of the race. As where is Zeiss? Yeah, Zeiss right now is heading into Blanchimont, Stavelot. And yeah, they are in the last sector of the track. I think they are going to, their next lap is going to be their final lap. So second to last lap and then the final lap of the race. What a dominating performance from Ben Zeitz, not going to lie. That
Great
was
performance by Zeitz for one, just taking the lead and extending it and keeping it there. Consistency is important, but also Castellano, just insane. The comeback right after the penalties, after the crash, and keeping P2
that the leader is on the final lap. Sorry, but the confirmation that the leader is on the final lap. Ben Zeitz is on the final lap of the race. Oh yeah, sorry for
get the
interrupting
fireworks
you.
going. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I was saying, really good because consistency, comeback, raw pace, all of it on P1 and P2
Yeah.
is really good. Like P1 stayed P1 and P2 gained always.
Yeah.
And the battle between P3, P4, and P5 is immense.
Do that. Yeah. As we are now seeing Yandy Terrible with Sergio Dechov right behind them. At the same time, car getting settled on the curb. Take it easy, my boy. Take it easy. Yes, they're now going to let the faster cars by. I think. No! Oh! What happened here? Contact between Yandy Terrible and Sergio Dechov. Sergio Dechov touching the rear bumper of Yandy Terrible. Oh, man, that was weird. Like, I still do not understand why Yandy Terrible is not giving way to the car since they're blue flagged.
Yeah, people really need to cool down on the last lap.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to ruin your race when you're on your last push.
On the rear bumper of Sergei Chermov. The battle is not over yet.
One more lap for these two. One more lap. One mistake is all it takes.
Yeah. Oh boy, what is going to happen here? But yeah, race control is going on men's sides because deserved. Dominating performance, like they're just finishing the race literally on a parade with the other two slow cars ahead of them. If I were in sides, I would try and finish it on a parade. I'm being honest. They're giving way. Oh, Camp spinning, but yeah.
Oh no!
Let's rejoin, but Zeiss wins the race with a dominating performance. Marcel Sux P4 who are right at the end.
Sux stole that from Camp. That is so unfortunate.
At the last corner of the last lap. Oh my god, that must hurt. Oh no. But yeah, now we're back to see Jan Paul fighting with Sergei Chernov, but Sergei Chernov looks like they have a pretty big lead there. As we're now also seeing Alex Curto finishing the race in the GT4s with a dominating performance. It is just a massive dominating performance from Alex Curto. Also, Jan Paul is still pretty close-ish. Ooh!
Oh no.
No, Zed! Well, a race to forget, but at least could have been worse.
A race to forget.
P25 for Zed Sadie, as Jan Paul is 9 tests behind Sergei Chernov. I don't think Jan Paul is going to be able to do anything at this point in time. I'm sorry. Oh wait. Adrian Dabrovka.
Might be planning for the Intercontinental takeoff at bus stop.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Dechov, 10-second penalty. Oh.
Oh, right in front of.
Yeah.
Alex.
From the stewards, and also wow, that's Alex Curto. I think Alex almost stopped the entire field, as we see Brice Meyer finishing the race in P3. But yeah, 781 is not sufficiently side by side with 2 to have the right to the corner. Resulting collision is 2 crashed out, 10-second penalty. But man, Alex Curto, what a dominating performance. Almost lapping the entire field. Wow. As Albert George was able to finish the race, but wow. What a performance from Alex Curto. What a massively dominating performance. That is... I have no words to describe it. Like, that is a 2 minutes lead. I don't think I've ever seen such a massive lead.
That's what you get when someone's a league above everyone else.
Yeah. Wow. 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 That was a race.
Well done to all the drivers. Definitely been a roller coaster Michael Bay movie, sponsored by
Sponsored by tracc.eu, and man, what a race this was.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really, really good. But yeah,
Just want to thank, like everyone for joining in, all the drivers for putting on this show every race this season.
yeah. This has been a very nice circus to be part of as a commentator. Also, I would like to thank you today, Ahmed, for being here in the commentary booth with me. I would like to thank Psycho Kaiser for the broadcast. I would like to thank our stewards, Eric Gragis and Julian Strasser, for their live stewarding. I would like to thank all the drivers here for being on track and providing us this good action. I would like to thank you all the viewers for being us for these amazing races. And I guess we will see you next time on the racetrack.
I want to
Goodbye.
thank you
Oh yeah,
for
sorry,
talking
my
your
bad.
off today because it made my first commentary job easy.
Don't worry. But yeah, we will see you next time on the racetrack. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a good day.